Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, and Parker Kelly with you on your Wednesday morning, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Hope everybody's day is off to a great start. Cory, what's going on? We were just talking. You had a nice little trip to Chicago this weekend.
Yep,
How's it going?
did all things Chicago for a couple days. A lot of pizza.
Love it.
A lot of lakefront.
Pizza from where?
Giordano's.
So are you a Giordano's guy?
Yeah.
Not Illuminati's?
No. I like Illuminati's just fine, but Giordano's is my pizza of choice.
Okay.
I like their sauce a lot, and I do like their crust.
I'm a Illuminati's guy.
Yeah. Oh no, Illuminati's is fine.
They're both great.
Yeah, they are both great. I mean, they're all derived from the same place.
Right.
So but they're all a little bit different. I mean, if you go to Gino's East, I think that's one of the more different ones of the ones that you get. And they're the ones that offer the sausage wheel.
Yeah. I gotta say, I've never been to Chicago. I've never been outside of O'Hare. I've connected through O'Hare a couple of times.
Let me just tell you this, okay? If you want to go someplace from Nashville, you'd have a hard time finding a better place to go than Chicago from an ease of travel
Amen.
aspect.
No,
It's
that's
just
true.
a straight 1 hour flight.
Number one, for anybody who says it's this crime-ridden, horrible whole city, you haven't been there, you don't know, okay? I was just there for 3 days, never felt in danger for 1 second, okay? It was beautiful outside. The city is beautiful. The landscaping of the city is beautiful. But like Parker just said, it is a 1 hour flight. You don't need to rent a car. You hop on the Orange Line from the subway and go straight downtown. You're there in 30 minutes for $3. Okay. For $3, you're there and you're within 2 blocks of your hotel, generally, wherever you're going to get off. And then you go to your hotel. You're not paying $60 a night, $70 a night to park your car. And everything you want to do is pretty much within walking distance, or you could Uber if you want, or you can, again, take the L to Wrigley Field. It's $3. And there's a million restaurants, and there's a million things to do. And so, yeah, I mean, for a weekend, you can't do much better.
You got me sold. I want to go up there. We were talking about you seeing a game at Wrigley. That's the one like historic stadium I haven't checked off the bucket list yet. I've been to Yankee Stadium, and I know it's the new Yankee Stadium. It's not the old one, but I've been to Fenway. I've not been to Wrigley, so I think that's the next one I have to check off.
Wrigleyville is hard to recognize from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And Wrigley Field is much, much different, but it's still Wrigley Field. I mean, there's still the grass and the ivy on the walls and the old scoreboard and all that. I was fortunate, got some really good tickets. Wrigley Field also an older stadium, so it still has the standards that hold up the upper deck.
Have to make sure you're not sitting behind.
So let me just make this advice to everyone: if you're going to go and you're going to buy tickets on the secondary market, like I did, they will show you what your view is from your seats. Okay. And so you will see if you have a giant
obstructed view.
Yeah. Steel beam. Cause it doesn't have to be right in front of you, but it can obstruct your view like halfway between first and home.
Right.
And you don't want that.
Yeah.
And so, I had to shop around to make sure bleacher seats were completely sold out. But we put it together and I got some good seats at a reasonable price.
Yeah, maybe not this summer, but maybe next summer I have to make that trip. My dad has been to Wrigley one time, but he has not seen a game there.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I can't remember what year it was, but it was the game that never happened, where the player passed away the night before and they canceled the game. I'm blanking on the player's name.
Oh gosh, does he play for the Astros?
I will find it.
Yeah, most people don't know this. The Bears used to play at Wrigley Field. Before
way back in the day,
before Soldier Field,
the
Bears played at Wrigley Field, and I think don't they play a bowl game there now?
No, they don't. They play one of the regular season games though.
Northwestern has played.
They played Wisconsin there. I know Notre Dame has played there. I don't think they're doing anything this year. I think they're playing the game at Lambeau because it's Wisconsin and Notre Dame this year.
Okay.
I can't find the game just Googling what I remember, but yes, my dad went to that game, but never actually got to see baseball played because it got canceled.
Well, and so again, with the ease of travel in Chicago, you can take the L train and it literally drops you off at the doorstep of Wrigley Field. I mean, it is so, I mean, and it's $3.
Yeah.
It's so much better than taking a cab or trying to park and then, and then leaving. All you do is you walk up the steps, you go and you get on the train and you go back. It is not difficult.
No, that's the one thing that it's way down the line for Nashville, but I would love some public transportation, like a metro.
Well, I think a lot of people here turn their nose up at it.
I know.
They think it's like beneath them or something, and everybody uses the L in Chicago.
If you could just get a metro line from like Bellevue to
Cool Springs
to Mount Juliet.
Yeah, sure. Bellevue to Mount Juliet, and just have a couple branches off
Cool Springs
north and south.
to Hendersonville.
Yeah.
Through Nashville, just like
there we go.
Or maybe the one from Murfreesboro.
Right.
It'd
be great.
Does the Star run through Murfreesboro? Or I think it runs through Mount Juliet.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I think you have your line there, but I'm not sure. But we do need something desperately. I mean, of all the things Nashville's been ahead on, that's transportation continues to be where it lags.
Yes.
And again, that's not a city issue completely. A lot of that is a state issue.
Right.
They can't make Williamson County or Sumner County.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Rutherford County, and they can't make the state spend money to make that happen.
Yeah.
And so that's one area. It's painfully obvious.
Yeah.
But for some reason it continues to lag.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even in the near future, but as someone who grew up in the like DC metro area, having the metro was great. I would drive 15 minutes to Ashburn and I would get off and I'd hop on the train. And I could be at a Nats game in like 30 minutes.
So when I grew up in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, I would take the Northwestern train into Nashville, into Chicago for $1.50. And then back then the L was 50 cents.
Yeah. And
then I would hop on the L because it was a block away. You got off the train and got on the L train for 50 cents. And that took you to Wrigley. And I mean, I was a young teen doing that by myself.
Yeah.
And it was so convenient. They're there.
Yeah. I would love it. But again, I feel like it's a while away from us getting anything close to that here.
Yeah.
How about game 4 last night? I would say out of the 4 games in the Stanley Cup playoff or Stanley Cup finals, probably was the least exciting, but that's a high bar given what we've seen in the first 3 games.
Because they've been so competitive.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what game 3 they came back from the ridiculous comeback.
Yeah, I mean, game 1 was back and forth, ended 5-4 on a game winner with 3 minutes left. Game 2 went to overtime with a 2-goal comeback. Game 3 was just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. And last night was a really good game. Early lead. Carolina took a 2-0 lead 3.5 minutes in, despite nearly a shorthanded breakaway for Mark Stone that got Vegas back even. But then Vegas came back, tied it at 3. Jordan Stahl with a crazy game-winning goal, falling down, diving, and Carter Hart diving across was like that close to saving it.
Great players do great things.
I mean, Jordan Stahl, that's his 5th goal of the finals in 4 games.
We had the other game-tying goal earlier in the series.
He's been really, really good. Yep. And then Nikolai Ehlers with one of the more improbable empty net goals to seal it at the end, just throwing it around the boards. It got the kick it needed and went right into the middle of the net.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. And I'm glad that Carolina got the win and this series is back 2-2 because I do think what we've seen so far in this series, it deserves to go 7 and getting it to 2-2. Again, not guaranteed. Somebody could win the next 2, but it makes me feel a lot better that we might get a game 7 in the Stanley Cup.
I think everybody feels like it's headed for 7, right? I mean,
yes,
it's done.
Right.
And it kind of feels like game 7 is headed for overtime.
Yeah. And what could be better than overtime in game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals?
Oh my gosh. Going like 5 overtime periods. You're up till 2 a.m. Guys are sucking on oranges, eating pizza in the locker room.
Yes.
I mean, there've been some long ones. I mean, and by the way, all those games on News 2.
Yes, they are. All the NBA Finals
Yeah,
games and
yeah,
Stanley Cup
that's
Finals
right.
games
That's
are on
right.
news too. So makes it nice and easy for you. William from Madison, thank you. We've had a couple people text about the player that
Okay.
passed away that caused to that game not happening. Daryl Kyle is who it was.
Astros pitcher.
Yes.
Yeah.
So William from Madison, that's
Yeah.
what it was. My dad has told that story. He was
Yeah.
visiting my aunt who lived in Chicago and helping her move.
Okay.
And her reward to them was Cubs tickets and was like, hey, you can go to a Cubs game. And it never happened. The game never happened because of his death. So I'd love to get up to Wrigley. I mean, that's one of the ones that is a must, I think. Like I'd love to get to all 30 MLB stadiums at some point, but that one I think is right at the top.
Well, at this point, what's your favorite?
PNC Park.
Okay. Oh, in Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I heard it's I mean, been outside of it. I've heard it's amazing.
I would say top 3 that I've been to so far, and this is pretty easy: PNC Park, Fenway Park, and Camden Yards in Baltimore. Those 3 have been awesome.
I was going to guess Camden Yards for you would be up there.
Yeah. Nats Park is nice too. That's the one I've been to the most, obviously. Yeah. I went to Comerica in Detroit for the first time last year. It was good. It was fine.
Yeah.
But PNC Park is easily number 1.
Okay.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll take all of your thoughts on our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We got lots to get to on the show today. Going to start with some Titans. They were back on the field yesterday for OTAs. Our guy Parker was out there, so we'll get Parker's thoughts.
They'll let anybody in now.
So what?
They'll let anybody into Titans.
I guess so. I guess so.
We got to get.
I made my way over there yesterday.
We'll get his thoughts on what he saw, and just in general, have a conversation. It's gonna end up being a Cam Ward conversation, but just a conversation about how seriously do we take practices in June with still 3 months to go until the NFL season. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up. 125 the game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly.
Haven't had a lot of reason to play that one lately.
I'm forgetting the words of the song.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I'm playing it.
It's because it's been so long.
My Tigers already have as many wins in June as they had in May.
Yeah, that for the Cubs it wouldn't be hard. I think they're 5-14 in their last 19.
Yeah,
they're one game above 500.
Yeah, and they did have the best record in baseball.
Yeah.
Well, see, the
for like a couple days.
Cubs are still doing better than the Tigers. Tigers are 11 games below 500.
I guess we'll take it.
Yeah, the NL Central is kind of a gauntlet. The Reds have fallen off, but the Brewers are playing well.
Yeah, but I mean, like they just lost 2 out of 3 to the Giants, and they suck.
Yeah, Giants they've not been good.
Just lost to the Rockies last night.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, it's not like they're losing.
It's awful.
It's not like they're running the gauntlet.
Bipolar.
Yeah. It's still early, which is kind of the theme of the conversation we're about to have.
Okay, we can switch, but I'm just going to tell you that if you look at the numbers for Bregman and Ian Happ with runners left on base, it explains that record completely.
Yeah,
they're like 2 of the top 5 in all of baseball.
Yeah, and it's funny. I wanted Alex Bregman.
Oh, I did too.
So bad.
I was happy they got
2
him.
years ago for the Tigers.
Matt Shaw back out
but it just didn't make sense this year. I think the Cubs was a good fit after he left Boston.
Yeah, especially now that he can't drive anybody in. Go ahead. Let's talk Titans.
Let's talk Titans. They were on the field for OTAs again yesterday. They'll have one more OTA tomorrow. Robert Saleh will speak, and it will be open to the media. And then mandatory mini camp coming up next week at Vanderbilt Health Sports Park. Before we get into some of the big picture conversation here, Parker, you were out there at practice yesterday. Anything that stood out to you from what you got to see?
Should I start out with Cam Ward? Because I'm sure that's what everybody wants to hear about.
Yeah, if you want to start with Cam Ward, that's where we were going anyway.
So I thought Cam looked really good at the beginning of practice. I thought his accuracy was off the charts. But then as practice started to go along, things started to dip a lot. There was a specific play on 7-on-7 where Chimdike was running a crosser from left to right and wide open. I could have made that throw. Cory we all could have made the throw. And Cam threw it at his feet. I'm like, that's not good. That's not good. Then they did a red zone drill at the end of practice. It was full 11-on-11. He had Elike Manor wide open on a fade on the right side and overshot him. Good thing was that wasn't his last play. They came back again, ran the same exact concept on the left side, hit him for a touchdown. That was Cam's last play. So he ended on a good note, but it was a very up and down day for him.
That seems to be the theme that we've been getting from everyone is the last couple days. There's been some good moments here and there. Like back on Monday, he hit Carnell Tate for a 50-yard touchdown. Carnell Tate did not practice yesterday. According to reports, he's going to be okay, could even be back out on the field tomorrow, so nothing to worry about there. But with Cam Ward, I'm going to lead with this. I would much rather, as a Titans fan, and I'm sure Titans fans out there, you'd much rather be hearing, man, Cam Ward is lighting it up at Titans OTAs right now, and he can't miss. He's 14 of 15 in these team drills, and he is pinpoint accurate. But it is also June, and he's learning a new system. He's working with a lot of new wide receivers. It's going to take some time, right? And again, I would much rather be hearing that he is having you've seen the jump already in June. But just because he hasn't made that big second-year jump in OTAs in early June, that does not mean that he can't make that jump as he goes through training camp and into his second season. It is still so early to be making any sweeping declarations about what Cam Ward is going to be heading into year 2.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, because going back to last year, the first half of the season especially wasn't great.
Right.
It was a struggle because it was a struggle for the whole offense. The line couldn't block, the runners couldn't run, the receivers couldn't catch. And then when they had grown adults calling plays, it all looked dramatically different. His completion percentage went up. His touchdowns to interceptions went way up.
Yeah, it was like 10-1 in the last 7 games of the year.
His sack numbers dropped dramatically the last 7-8 games, down to like 1.5 a game. And so things can change. But, I'm not going to make excuses. If he needs to play better, he needs to play better.
Yeah, 100%.
And I can say I wasn't there the last 2 years. I was out of town. I made these plans before the Titans decided to open these 2 practices up. But yeah, I mean, he's the franchise. And so as he goes, the franchise will likely go. And so you need him to be good. The question is the why. If he's not rolling, why is he not rolling? And that's what you need to have answered. Are his mechanics not good enough? Is he just not accurate? Is he trying some new stuff? Is he not on the same page as some guys? Is he not comfortable in the new offense? Maybe all. I don't know, but I'm more interested in the why right now because I think he's too good of a player to just be bad. And I know there are certain people out there who will disagree with that, who are going to say, no, he just is bad. I don't think he's just bad. And so if he is struggling some, I'm interested in the why.
I agree with that. I think that there are a lot of reasons that you could look at and say, here's why he's struggling. Coming off the injury, I doubt that would be the big thing.
No.
But that could be something that's affecting him coming back.
It should not be. If the injury was an issue, he should not be out there.
And that's fair. That would not be my number one reason. Number one reason I think it could be is you mentioned the system. And we've heard from Brian Daboll that a lot of his plays and schemes is going to be built around option routes of the wide receivers and the quarterback have to be on the same page about how to read the defense and how to attack the defense. And so maybe they're not quite where they need to be with that, which is totally understandable in June. But I agree with you. Like,
you got two guys who are in their second year, one guy who's in his first year, and then another guy who's in his first year on the team.
Right.
So there's a lot that's new there. And again, that's going to sound like me making excuses. It needs to be better, but that's reality.
Yeah, I think that's where we all need to be is, there's reason for concern that he is not playing better. I agree with that of like, hey, you want to see your second-year quarterback that, as you mentioned, you picked number 1 overall. You would like to see him come back for year 2 and show noticeable improvement. But, again, there's been 4 open practices to the media, and you're still 3 months away from playing real football. Just because he hasn't looked like he's taken that jump yet, it doesn't mean that this is what he's going to be when the live bullets start flying in September, or when you get into the mid part of the season where we saw Cam Ward take that jump last year. Like, again, it's June. And I would say the same thing about Carnell Tate right now, too. A lot of people want to jump on the and say, oh, man, Carnell Tate, he's going to be the guy, and he's number 1.
Who's he catching balls from?
Cam Ward.
Okay.
Right. It's so, like, I just think in terms of good or bad, even if Cam Ward was lighting it up right now, and all the reports out of practice were Cam Ward looks 1,000 times better than he did at the end of last season, I would say, that's great. That's what you want to hear.
We'll see when the bullets fly.
But, right. Let's see what he does when you're playing real games in September, because no one is a franchise quarterback because of what they do in June. They're a franchise quarterback because of what they do in September through January and hopefully into February at some point. Again, I saw this yesterday. Justin Graver, Titans Film Room on Twitter, posted 2 screenshots of headlines from May 2025. Drake May struggles with 4 interception day plus other Patriots OTA observations.
Yeah.
From June 4th, 2025, Chicago Bears quarterback Caleb Williams has concerning issue at minicamp. Caleb Williams isn't consistently accurate. Let's all just take a chill pill here.
Yeah.
Like, it's June. Yes. Would you rather hear great things about Cam Ward? 100%. But just because you're not doesn't mean that he's not going to improve this year. It is still way too early.
Yeah. And again, I'm not making excuses. If he needs to be better, he needs to be better. But I have also been a big proponent of this. Some guys just suck in practice.
Yeah.
I was one of them.
I knew several people like that. They were bad in practice, but when the game came on,
I needed the adrenaline. I needed the lights because I didn't have enough talent to do it without the adrenaline. So, I practice, I was terrible. So I may have told you this story before. Ray Tanner, head coach in South Carolina for a long time. He had this kid who was batting third for him playing right field, Adam Poe, hitting 390 at the time. And Ray and I are having lunch. It's back when I worked in South Carolina. And he's like, hey, and he's like, the kid's driving me nuts. He doesn't go to class all the time. He's been late for practice, blah, 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 blah. And, he doesn't work as hard in practice as other guys do. He's like, what do you think I should do? I said, what's he hitting? He's like, 390. I said, I think you should write his name down and just Just live with the fact that some guys suck at practice.
Right.
Okay. Because when the game comes on, Adam Poe can rake. Okay.
Yeah.
And so Adam Poe was in the lineup that night. And I don't know what he did, but
Well, that brings me to a point of like, this is the only sport where we do this, right? Like we are in the,
baseball has spring training.
Yeah. But do people freak out if they're like, if you're,
the baseball season is so long that
Right.
no, they don't. And then, in the NBA, the starters really don't play in the preseason.
But this isn't even the preseason.
Yeah.
This is the preseason.
Yeah, but the other sports don't have a preseason.
Right. And that's what credit to the NFL for making us care about unpadded practices in June and talking about it. But it's just like, this is the only sport where we hyper focus on every snap that gets taken leading up to the season.
Yeah.
And again, there's value to it that we get to see these things and get to see who's developing, who's not. But the season is a lot longer than 4 OTA practices.
Yes.
Let's see training camp. Like if we get to training camp where you're getting to see these guys almost every single day,
it's a problem,
and he's consistently inaccurate and he's making mistakes and he doesn't look like he's taking any strides, then I think maybe not hit the panic button, but you can start to say, all right, is this a real issue?
Still not throwing like a lot of interceptions. I think he
has two or three.
He threw one yesterday. Okay. Another one almost got picked.
Okay.
It should have been.
To Micah,
that's probably too many.
Yeah, Micah Robinson got his get back yesterday with no Carnell Tate on the field.
There were several deflections too.
Yeah, okay. But again, you can take chances in practice that you wouldn't in a game. And again, it's going to sound like I'm making excuses, but again, I don't know. I need to know the why. I need to know the why. But again, this stuff, we say it does matter. Because I go back to Will Levis and Calvin Ridley, and they could not get on the same page in camp.
And everybody said,
training camp started, and they couldn't get on the same page. And we're like, well, we'll get to the regular season. And the regular season got there, and they could not. I mean, he had that one game where he had like 10 targets and 1 catch.
Yeah.
I mean, they just could not get on the same page. So it's not meaningless. It's not meaningless. Is it everything? No. Is it nothing? No. I mean, it's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
We're at a stage where I just simply say, I don't think we push the panic button, but it needs to be better.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have high expectations for the first pick of the draft.
Yeah.
It's okay. And you know what? I don't think anyone's expectations are higher than his.
I agree.
I agree 100% with that.
So
I'm not worried about the short to intermediate stuff. Because if you watch Wan'Dale Robinson, he plays exactly like Xavier Restrepo. Only difference is he's faster.
Yeah.
So I mean, like the short area space. I mean, I'm not worried about that. But Cam missed a lot of deep stuff yesterday.
Yeah,
and that's what's going to have to get better because if it's there, you got to be able to hit it.
That's been the issue. Has been the deep ball accuracy. Yes. A lot of that starts with his footwork.
That's going to be the growth from year 1 to year 2. If he starts hitting that stuff consistently, that's the growth.
When we went through the Derek and David Carr podcast, they talked about it. He airmailed Alec Iamaner for a would-be touchdown against Denver in week 1. And it was because he didn't set his feet. And it's like, that is the stuff that does concern me because you need to see growth there. They have to coach that with him. And if you haven't seen it at this point, is he working through that stuff that it's going to be better when you get to September? I just think that there's so much runway for him to improve right now.
I would agree with that.
Let's not hit the panic button yet. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take your thoughts on this and much more. Talking Titans here in hour number 1. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up. 1025 The Game. Raise a glass with Tennessee Brew Works, proud partner and official craft beer of the football offseason coverage here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly alongside you. Talking Titans on this Wednesday morning. Back-to-back open practices yesterday and Monday for the Titans. They'll be back on the field tomorrow. And we're going through the reaction to Cam Ward having what I think by most accounts was 2 tough days. They're
not horrific days, but not good enough.
Right. Inconsistent days, I think, is the best way to put it. And I've said throughout the offseason that the one thing we need more from Cam Ward is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
He had the flashes. He had the games even where you're like, that's what it's supposed to look like for a rookie that you took first overall. But on a play-to-play basis and a game-to-game basis, you weren't seeing enough consistency. And I will say that is concerning that we haven't seen him start to find a little bit of a rhythm. But again, it's so early in this process that I think we need to give him time to work into the new system, working with his new receivers. And we were just talking about it during the break, Cory, of we don't know what the coaching is going on behind the scenes. Are they tweaking some of his mechanics here and there, and he's struggling to get used to that? Are the routes a little bit different where he doesn't know exactly where the receivers are going to be yet? All of this is supposed to be worked on in June, where we are now. So it's not an issue when you get into August and into September when you're playing actual games.
Yeah, no, because again, we don't know what the coaching points are. No, obviously the coaching points are not to throw incompletions.
Yes, it's not to throw it at your wide receiver's feet.
But again, and I keep saying it's the why, and we're just speculating. I mean, that's all we can do. That's all
I'm not in the meeting rooms with Brian Dable and Shea Tierney.
Yeah, I mean, but so Mitch Trubisky completes like 14 of 17 or something.
Yeah.
He's played with Brian Daboll for a few years.
He's been in this system.
Yeah.
He's also been in the NFL for a decade now.
Yeah. And he knows how to take the easy throw. And I'm not just sitting there saying he's taking the easy throw, but he knows how to complete passes. And so, there's a difference with what you're working on. Like I said, he also might be like, hey, it's only practice. I'm going to try to fit this one in here.
Yeah.
Now that, again, you get a guy crossing wide open.
Yeah.
They don't have that excuse. You got to complete that ball.
There were several he tried to fit in a tight window yesterday.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And did he last year? And he threw some tight window throws. He didn't throw a lot of interceptions last year.
No, he didn't. At least once you got down the stretch, he really limited the turnovers. Right, early in the season, he fumbled the ball too much. He threw too many interceptions.
His ball security.
Right,
fumble wise was not good.
I want to say the last 7 or 8 games of the year, he only had 2, maybe 3 turnovers. He had the 1 pick and then a couple of fumbles. But overall, there's a lot that needs to be improved for Cam Ward. And the one thing that does concern me the most is missing the wide open shots. There were too many throws last year where he was not even just a little bit off.
Yeah.
He was way off. Like, guy down the sideline has a step on the corner and he'd throw it 5 yards out of bounds. That's the stuff that cannot happen for a quarterback in the NFL. When you have an X play that the defense is giving to you, your quarterback has to connect. So if I had to say the thing that concerns me the most from what Parker's telling us and the reports that we've seen is Jim DK running wide open over the middle of the field, and you don't even give him a chance to make a play on the football.
Yeah, no, that ball's got to be complete. Parker, what was Brian Daboll's reaction to that?
He actually was not as animated as I thought.
Okay.
The most animated coach on the sideline, the offensive sideline, was Carmen Brasillo.
Okay.
He's got a lot of Daboll in him. Because I was listening into him yesterday. I mean, he was when Cam Ward threw a pick, I mean, he was yelling at the offensive line. He's like, hustle to the ball, hustle. And he was using a lot of expletives that I can't repeat. But he's got a lot of Brian Daboll.
Okay. Because we've heard that Daboll will coach him hard.
Yeah.
And obviously part of that will be in the quarterback's room.
Right.
But we also know some of that's going to come out. We've seen the video that it will come out on the practice field. But again, that leads us to it's June. Yeah. And that could be why it's not dialed up more than it is. And you also don't want to embarrass your starting quarterback necessarily in front of the whole team.
Right. Especially in open practice too, where
when you're trying to establish a relationship.
Yeah, it's like you don't want the headlines coming out of practice to be Brian Dable lights up Cam Ward
disgusted
after throwing a pick. Right, like I Brian Dable clearly is a smart guy, experienced guy. I mean, we've heard him speak. I think you asked him the question in his introductory press conference of like, you sound a lot like a head coach.
Yep, I
It's
did.
like,
because that's exactly what he sounded like.
I had the exact same thought as I was watching it live. I was thinking, I was like, man, he sounds like a head coach. And then you said it. I was like, yeah, I mean, it was hard to ignore that.
Yeah.
So Brian Daboll knows what he's doing in terms of managing the roster and managing the quarterback.
I agree with that completely. He understands the big picture
Yes.
of how to treat the team and how to treat people. And I think that's going to be, and I think that experience as head coach is invaluable for him there. And that's going to be one of the interesting things to watch as I'm sure when mandatory OTAs get here, when mandatory minicamp gets here,
Yeah.
it'll probably get dialed up a little bit. And so it'll be interesting to see how it is there.
I read an article yesterday it was like a recap of OTAs. I can't remember who wrote it. I think it was either Easton Freeze or Paul Kuharski. And they made the point of like, Cam Ward's really good at bouncing back. Of when he makes a mistake, usually he comes back and makes a big play after that. You just wish he didn't have to bounce back as much.
Times, yeah.
Right. And that's the consistency factor that we're looking for. Cam Ward has proven that he has the arm talent to make some of the big time throws that a lot of other quarterbacks can't make. It's just about doing the other quarterback things on a more consistent basis that we haven't seen quite yet.
Yeah. I think, we brought up Caleb Williams earlier in the show.
Yeah.
And I think, there's a lot of people who would say that about Caleb Williams. The first 3 quarters, not always great, but in the fourth quarter, just unbelievable. I mean, amazing. And so they'd like to see more of the fourth quarter. But again, if that's in them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's in him to bounce back, if he's got those plays in him, it's just drawing them out on a more consistent basis. There's some guys who just don't have those plays in them. I mean, that's like Caleb Williams again. You see the plays he makes with the game on the line.
Yep.
And you're just, not many guys make those plays. And that is what makes those guys special. That's what makes those guys special. And Cam Ward does some things. I mean, I go back, was that the Arizona game where he threaded that one to Ridley down the middle of the field?
Yes.
I mean,
that set up the second touchdown, and then he hit him on the sideline to set up the game-winning field goal.
Those throws were ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, those are in him.
And
they've got to be more consistently in him, but that's the talent that's there. And that's what gets you and goes, okay, we got to harness this.
And I think if you listen to the people who know what they're talking about, former quarterbacks watching film, I've watched videos that Dan Orlovsky has done.
Yeah,
we
Chase
watched Chase Daniel. We watched the video that Derek Carr and David Carr did. And they say, these are some of the best throws that we saw all of last year.
Yeah.
But a couple good throws does not make a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's good to be able to do those things, but everything else is just as important. I will say with Caleb Williams, I think everybody would agree right now, Caleb Williams is a rising star, and he had a great year last year, had the Bears a couple plays away from the NFC Championship game. But I read the headline that said, Caleb Williams has an issue. He's not consistently accurate from OTAs last year. You know what his completion percentage was last season?
Nope.
58%.
Yeah.
Like, Caleb Williams
got a bit better.
Is not consistently accurate. And I don't think Cam Ward has shown that he is consistently accurate too. But Paul has mentioned this as well, and I want to give him credit because I think I'm taking his words of like, there are quarterbacks who aren't pinpoint accurate, who can drop it on a dime, who can still be very successful quarterbacks. I don't know if Cam Ward is ever going to be Drew Brees. In fact, I probably know that he's not going to be Drew Brees, where he can place the ball wherever he wants, but he can do other things that Drew Brees couldn't.
Well, some guys are playmakers.
Right.
And some guys are shot takers, and some guys take shots.
Yeah.
In games, like you say, like a guy like Drew Brees, really systematic.
Yes.
Peyton Manning in a lot of ways was very systematic. It was. I mean, nobody was better at timing routes than Peyton Manning. He invented that back shoulder throw practically, and so there are different kinds for sure. Brady, his accuracy was insane.
Yes.
And so that's one of the things, but his mobility was horrific.
Right.
But he knew where the ball was supposed to go before it was snapped.
Yeah.
And it was on target. And that's what made him great. But there are other quarterbacks who, I don't think we call Jalen Hurts a pinpoint passer.
No.
And he does have a Super Bowl ring.
Yep.
So there are other quarterbacks who do it different ways. Like, Caleb Williams, 58% was pretty damn good last year.
Yeah.
And he could be better. He can be better, but despite not being 100% accurate, we all say insane arm talent.
Yep.
Insane arm talent.
I think with Cam Ward, yes, there should be reason for concern that you haven't seen a level of improvement from you'd like to see him come back and look more like the quarterback we saw late in the season than still having some of those issues that we saw early on in the year. I also think that there are different ways to succeed as a quarterback. And with Cam Ward, I think that he has a lot of those intangibles that you look for as a quarterback. He's got the work ethic. He has the arm talent. He has the leadership ability. Accuracy is a big part of it too, of course, but it's still so early. Let's just hit the brakes a little bit.
Part of accuracy is also taking the easy throw.
Right.
And,
yeah.
And that's something. I mean, we saw him turn down easy completions to take shots.
That's part of it too.
And I think Caleb Williams does some of those things as well.
Right.
And so you can do that. Here's my bottom line. I think it's too early to panic.
Yeah.
But not too early to expect more. I mean,
100%.
You can expect more and not panic.
Yeah.
Okay. Because like we said, it's June. They're working on stuff. We don't know the why, but I still want it to be better.
Yeah. I'd prefer him to show improvement.
That doesn't mean I think he's a dog, Oh, he's terrible. I mean, look, I've seen terrible. All right. I've seen Cole McDonald. All right. He was terrible. I saw Zach Wilson for the New York Jets.
Hey, don't diss Cole McDonald.
Cole McDonald was one of the worst.
I know he was bad in the NFL. I loved him at Hawaii, though.
That's fine. You can love him all you want. And when I saw him in camp, he's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. Okay. Talent-wise, one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Fair.
Yep. Okay. And there are other guys that you see. I mean, I always remember when Marcus came in, and it was who was it? It was him, Charlie Whitehurst, and Zach.
Yeah, Met was still there.
And they were running a drill together. This is like first day of practice where we got to see all three of them. And they were lined up, one right next to each other. And they would all do the same drop back and throw. And one of those guys dropping back and throwing looked a hell of a lot better than the other two. And I was just like, whoa, this is different.
Yeah.
And you just knew he was better. And not just a little bit, a lot of bit better. And so, there's a lot of quarterbacks who hang around the league who aren't very good. We might have seen some on the roster last year. So,
yeah,
I don't think he falls into that category.
Comparing him to the Met show and clipboard Jesus.
I didn't compare him to that. I'm just saying that we've seen bad quarterbacks, and right. I don't. When I watch him, I don't sit there and go, "Oh man, he's terrible. He's got no chance."
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel at 1025 The Game for live shows and exclusive content. We'll finish up the first hour of the show on the other side. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up. 1025 The Game. Next man up, 1025, the game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you. Finishing up the first hour, we're going to talk more about the Brendan Sorsby situation coming up in the next hour. There was an article from ESPN that I want to talk about maybe some options for the Big 12 to try and fix this situation. So we'll get into that coming up next. But wrapping up the conversation on the Titans and Cam Ward, we got Cameron on the text line. Saying it's time for Ward to turn it on. Just being drafted number one doesn't make you a number one quality player. I agree with that.
Absolutely. We've seen plenty of number ones not be number one quality players.
He follows it up with, he also couldn't throw it in the net standing flat-footed, and you have Trubisky doing it effortlessly. This is the stupidest part about all of this is like, sure, if you want to criticize Cam Ward for live action reps of like, okay, he misses Chim DK wide open, 100%.
Yeah.
That is concerning to me. Him not being able to throw it into a net in a drill.
Again, we also make the snap judgments off 12-second clips on
Right.
Twitter. All right. You can't do that. All right. Look, if Carnell Tate makes a spectacular grab, go ahead and enjoy it. You still haven't seen the rest of the practice.
Right.
All right. You still haven't. And again, did Cam miss the net? Maybe. Sure. How much of the practice did you see compared to that?
Right.
It's a bad throw. Okay.
And it just like, I get it. You'd rather have him putting them all in the net.
Yeah.
But that's not real football. Like, have you seen the guy on Instagram who his name's Neil Kennedy, and he's been putting stuff out of I'm going to be the starting center forward for the U.S. men's national team at the World Cup. But all the videos he posts are just him kicking the ball into an empty net with no one else on the field. Like, that doesn't mean you're a good soccer player. No. If there's a quarterback out there in high school who can go out there and throw the ball into the net from 45 yards out, that doesn't make you a good quarterback.
Nope.
If you're missing it, doesn't make you a bad. It's a drill. Like that. Sure. Criticize quarterbacks for plays they make in live action.
So here's a good example of that. Last year, after the Preds drafted David Martin, 5th overall. Brady Martin, 5th overall. I remember going to rookie camp, and there's a lady whose coach is skating for them, and they're teaching them basically to like skate on one skate across the ice.
Yeah.
And these guys are all, they're 18
really
years
good
old
skaters. Yeah.
but they're all struggling. But no one struggled more than Brady Martin.
Yeah.
He is dying out there. Did I sit there and go, well, he's terrible?
Right.
No, he's struggling with this drill. He is struggling with this drill.
Right.
He's a good hockey player. He's a really good hockey player, but he is struggling with this drill mightily right now.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to be concerned about where he is right now. I want to be concerned about where he is in 5 years.
Right.
And again, I'm not sitting here saying, well, Cam Ward's got 5 years. Like you said, it's a drill.
Right. I think, and I said it to you during the break, all of this is confirmation bias for both sides, right?
Yes.
The guys who love Cam Ward and wanted him coming out.
They'll take the Carnell Tate catch.
Right.
It's going to be 1 billion yards this year.
They're ignoring all the bad and saying, oh, look, he threaded the needle here. Cam Ward's going to be great. He's our franchise quarterback. The people who didn't want Cam Ward in the first place are saying, look at all the bad stuff. He's missing the net. He's missing wide receivers.
You look for stuff to confirm
He's a bust.
Your argument.
It's like, it's in the middle, right? Like there's some good things that Cam Ward is doing. There's some bad things that Cam Ward is doing. You'd like to see him be better at this point, but that doesn't mean he's that you need to start looking for another option at quarterback.
Again, you brought up the Drake May and Caleb Williams reports.
They struggled last year too.
There were people in Chicago last year suggesting that Tyson Bagent might, I think Jason Smith is a national host on Fox. And I was listening to him come home one night, and when the Bears re-signed Tyson Bagent, he was like, the Bears are setting the table to bench Caleb Williams. And he was just adamant about this. I don't know if he would recognize that today or not, but he was adamant that the Bears were getting ready to bench Caleb Williams for Tyson Bagent because Caleb Williams was struggling so much in OTAs.
Right.
And that's not true at all.
Yes.
But people, they plant their flag about how they feel about a guy. And so then they look for all the evidence to prove that they're right. And only one thing is going to prove whether you're right or not. And that's how they play on Sunday.
Yes.
That's it.
And I'll say this. Cam Ward is 100%, barring injury, going to be the starting quarterback for the Titans this year.
Yep.
And I would say I'm almost certainly confident he will be the starting quarterback day one in the new stadium in 2027, barring just a horrific season. They picked him number one overall.
Mm-hmm.
the leash is shorter for young quarterbacks these days.
Absolutely.
But he's going to get the opportunity to prove he's the guy
Well,
or prove he's not the guy.
I don't look. Last year was a terrible year for the team, but I don't think anybody watched Cam Ward last year and said, "Oh, well, they got to go draft somebody new."
Right. It's
I
not
mean,
like
well,
Josh.
I mean, I guess there are some people who didn't want Cam Ward who will say that.
It's not like
regardless.
Josh Rosen.
No, or Zach Wilson,
Right.
or James, or not James was Jamarcus Russell, or some of these other guys.
Yeah.
You know, Achilles Smith. I mean, we've seen guys come in and just suck. I mean, not struggle a little bit, not like be up and down, suck.
Yeah.
But I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I've seen a lot of suck in my life at the quarterback position. Okay. I know what it looks like. I do. And believe me, there are a lot of years where I would have killed for Cam Ward last year.
Yeah.
In Chicago. I mean, there were years I had to see Rusty Lish play quarterback. You guys don't even know who that is. All right. Horrible. One of the worst quarterbacks. Played at Notre Dame. One of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. But yeah. And so, does he need to be better? Yes.
100%.
Yes. But just relax and just let's get to the season.
Yes. It's June. I know we're in June and everybody's looking for the microscope is on. Let's just all take a step back. There's a long way to go until we start playing real football. 615-737-1025. Titans will be back on the practice field tomorrow. We'll talk more Titans later on in the show. But coming up next, the Brendan Sorsby saga continues. And there was some more information that came out yesterday. Big 12 ADs met, and maybe there's a chance that the conference could do their best to try and dissuade Texas Tech from playing Brendan Sorsby in 2026. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5, The Game, second hour on this Wednesday. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly broadcasting from the Busy Bee, Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Talked a lot of Titans in the first hour. We'll get back to the Titans in the third hour of the show, but did want to spend some time here on the Brendan Sorsby situation. You and me, Cory, I think out of the hosts that we have on have talked the most about the Sorsby situation. Yeah. And we both were pretty much aligned last week or 2 weeks ago that there was no chance that a judge was going to allow him to play. And here we are. He has been granted a temporary restraining order.
Unbelievable.
Before we get into some of the recent
it's like
developments.
Somebody finding John Wayne Gacy innocent with 30 bodies buried in his house. He's just misunderstood.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're not saying he didn't make the bets. They're saying that the NCAA shouldn't be able to punish him for it.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
So is every NFL player who gets fined for an illegal hit going to go to court?
Well, they have collective bargaining.
Well, they could still go to court.
Exactly. I guess they could, but
I don't think they could.
The collective bargaining.
Jonte Porter didn't even try to sue the NBA when he got
right. Okay. Because of the collective bargaining, when they enter the league, they agree to those rules, and because the NCAA has not been able to figure out either congressional or collective bargaining or whatever they think's the best, they don't have the ability.
So the players have no representation, which needs to change,
right?
Obviously, and we have said we need rules. We need rules. We don't need idiots trying to enforce them like the NCAA.
Yeah.
And they take till week 4 to decide if a freshman is eligible or not.
Right.
Or decide, hey, this school's too big. We're
week
not going to
9 now.
Them. Yeah, it's
stupid.
Yeah. The NCAA is the root of all of this.
Right.
Okay. They suck. That's my big word for the day is suck. And the NCAA now falls on that line.
Well, the NCAA used to be the villain in all of this, right?
They still are.
But yes, they still are. But the point I was trying to make is it takes a lot for everyone in the college sports world to rally around the NCAA in a situation.
I don't think anybody's rallying around the NCAA. I think they're rallying around this
common sense.
Yeah, that this is an insane judgment. I mean, we see a lot of stuff in society today where I shake my head and I just say, how do people live with themselves? I mean, we've seen lawyers disbarred for bringing frivolous litigation to court over the last few years. And now we see a judge just come out with a ridiculous deal and then sets the next trial, the appeal.
Yeah, for February.
For after the season.
Yep.
Not just after the season, after the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, so clearly compromised is this judge in his decision-making that there should be action, someone seeking it against him. Now, I am adamant. Every team in college football should refuse to play them.
And we've already seen like Georgia and the Big Ten are basically saying, not only don't schedule them in football, do not schedule them in any sport.
Yeah.
Right. Like if this is the way that they want to hold their athletic department, then we're not going to play you.
I completely support that. I think, and look, the Big Ten's taken that stance. They've taken a leadership role. It's now easy to follow in behind.
Yeah.
Easy. And look, I would expect, I don't know if, I look, there's going to be another conference that falls in line.
I would agree.
And I don't know where the SEC is going to fall. But Georgia has already called for a boycott. Georgia's pretty big in the SEC.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Vanderbilt said, yeah, we won't play him either. Look, if everyone works together, you'll get it worked out. And this is not me against Brendan Sorsby. This is right and wrong.
Right.
I mean, look, he bet on his own team's games.
He broke every possible gambling rule that you could have broken.
And look, okay, say he plays this year. What are we looking at in the box score every game? Over and under interceptions, over under yards, over under touchdowns. Was it fixed? Was it rigged? Did he blow it on purpose? Did he go over on purpose? Did he make that little extra pass? Did he audible in the fourth quarter to get 10 more yards when they were up by 38 points to get the over? I mean, everything he does will be under question.
Yeah.
Whether good or bad. Is the motivation gambling related? And I said from the beginning, the way for him to get some kind of forgiveness is to come out and say, I have a problem.
Right. And say, I'm not going to play college football
Well,
this
I
year.
mean, it isn't even to say that, but just say, hey, I need to go get myself right. And then I'll worry about football after that. I mean, but when your whole thing is, hey, I need to play college football this year, it's because, there's millions of dollars at stake. We all realize that. And I understand that. And do I feel bad for the young man that he's going to lose out on millions of dollars? Maybe a little bit. But he made his own bet.
Yeah, right. That's the reasoning the judge gave is the irreparable harm he would suffer by
He's responsible for it.
You made the decision to do all of this, suffer the consequences.
Okay. So if he was drinking and driving and he killed someone, would you say, well, he can't go to jail? He was supposed to make $3 million.
He was going to be.
That's the thing. What's the threshold here?
Yes.
Did he have to go out and murder 47 people to be ruled ineligible? Like, what's the threshold?
So I will say, somebody brought this up yesterday. It was like, why are people so much more upset about this than drunk driving or domestic abuse or all these other things that we see?
Law.
Right, and that's what I would say is. There's a legal system in place to punish people for those decisions that they make and those things that they do.
But Parker's not wrong.
Right. But where's the line that in a civil case like this that you would get ruled ineligible by the judge?
Because you have rules. I mean, you have rules. I mean, they're just there.
Yeah.
I mean, and as much as I hate the NCAA, why can't they enforce their rule?
Right. Well, that's what I brought it up on Monday. It's like the NCAA is like your parents when you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get told to do things, do your chores, go to school, get good grades. And no one's going to come and haul you off to jail if you don't do those things. But if your parents ground you or take away your phone or whatever it is, those are the consequences to your actions, even though there may not be legal standing for that.
Yeah, and
you're supposed to respect those rules.
And I guess part of the problem is the NCAA has been so inconsistent in administering their rules.
That's fair too.
So indecisive in administering their rules over the year.
They haven't been very good parents.
So heavy-handed with some schools and not with others.
Right.
Again, this is what's rendered them powerless. Is no one respects their authority. And, talking about parents, if your child sees you having a different set of rules for their sibling, they're not going to respect what you have to say. And so that falls on the NCAA, but it still does not excuse a judge who clearly has a bias in this case. And now all the appeals judges are Texas Tech grads as well. And so you've got an immediate cause to say, hey, these guys all need to recuse themselves. This needs to go to a different court.
Right. Yeah. I understand the legal process is pretty fixed, but like, can they get this appeals trial in like Minnesota or something like that?
Somewhere
where there's not going to be a conflict. You're going to get a true opinion.
Yeah. Look, you don't want like someone who hates Texas
Tech.
Right.
You don't want to bring it to Austin.
Yeah.
But like, could you bring it to Portland, Oregon? Yeah. Or like just somewhere where there isn't going to be inherent bias among the people making the decision?
Boise.
What was confusing about all this was the original judge was a Texas Tech alum, recused from the case.
He did recuse himself.
The guy that just made this decision was brought out of retirement.
So he's got nothing on the line.
Exactly.
He's like,
that's why I think
I got one more in
me. That's why I think that because he can just go back into retirement and nothing happens.
Yes.
That's exactly why
I lost my law license.
Sorry.
Oh well,
Oops.
I get to
What are you going to do? Fire
singing.
me? I'm already retired.
Yeah, look, that takes the find a judge who will give it to you to a whole new extreme. When you bring a guy out of retirement to get your decision.
Exactly.
Brett Favre.
It's ridiculous.
It's oh gosh. And again, there's a real simple solution, and we'll get to the other part about the Big 12 in a second.
Yeah.
But every team should just say, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
We're not going to play them. Now, you were telling me the article says the Big 12, if they've got a super majority, which is 75%, they can punish them themselves.
Yes.
Which to me is what should happen.
I will read the excerpt from that coming up next because ESPN interviewed a legal expert, and the way he described what the Big 12 can do is kind of funny. Of basically they can make Texas Tech's life hell.
Well,
If they decide to play Brendan Sorsby.
If they don't, they're complicit with it.
Yep.
If you don't do anything to prevent it, Floyd Reese used to always say, you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen.
Yep.
All right. And so if you're the Big 12 and you allow it to happen, you're complicit.
615-737-1025. We will get your thoughts on that, and we'll read this article from ESPN. Again, the NCAA, as part of this injunction, is not allowed to interfere with Brendan Sorsby's ability to practice, play, participate in the season. But the Big 12 is not part of this, and they can punish Texas Tech if they allow Brendan Sorsby to play. We'll talk about it next. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. I saw Parker queuing this up in between segments there.
You get it, Cory? He's in a different.
Corey's he's in a different realm over there.
Right now.
What? I'm listening to you.
No,
I'm
you're
listening to
saying.
you?
Did you hear the song?
No.
Oh, okay. It was from High School Musical 2. It was
Okay. Do I look like somebody who's watched High School Musical 1 or 2?
It was on. It was the song is called "Bet on It."
Oh, okay.
That was I saw Parker queuing it up.
Okay.
It was well done as we talk about the Brendan Sorsby situation.
High School Musical.
So with Brendan Sorsby, the temporary restraining order restricts the NCAA from impacting Sorsby's ability to practice, play, and participate in Texas Tech's 2026 season. But
The NCAA's ability.
yes, but the Big 12 is not the NCAA, and the Big 12 had a meeting with its ADs yesterday, and I was watching SportsCenter last night. Pete Thamel said that there were 16 ADs on the call, 15 were pissed. One of them was Texas Tech's athletic director.
He was pissed?
No.
Oh.
15 of the 16 were pissed. The other one was Texas Tech's AD. So the Big 12, I was reading this article. This is from ESPN yesterday, and they interviewed a legal expert. Trying to find the name.
Jay Billis. He is an attorney.
Thomas Mars, prominent college sports attorney Thomas Mars, who helped Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss earn his preliminary injunction to play for the Rebels this season.
He didn't gamble.
No, he did not.
Okay.
He
just wanted to keep
He wanted a
playing.
medical red shirt.
Okay.
Yes.
Just
So
checking.
Thomas Mars, here is what he says. There is no question that the Big 12 could impose draconian sanctions on Texas Tech, and the types of sanctions would only be limited by their creativity. The Big 12 is not a party to the Texas lawsuit and is therefore not enjoined from doing anything. So I just love the limit can only be defined by their creativity.
Yeah.
This means that they could possibly, there's a list here
You
of
can
like
pay the conference $2 for every $1 you have in ticket sales.
I like the word used right there, draconian.
Yes, draconian punishments. The bylaws allow for discipline that includes prohibitions on appearance in postseason events or televised events, restrictions on revenue distributions, and limitations on recruiting or scholarships.
Yeah, 0 scholarships next year.
Right. They could limit scholarships. And the one that I like there is limitations on postseason participation.
Yes. I mean, now, could they say they can't represent the conference and they could still be selected as a wild
As an
card?
at-large, yeah. But I guess they could say that even if you're our conference champion, you're not given our auto bid to the college football playoff.
Yes.
And we talked about it yesterday, too. The college football playoff is the one college championship that is not NCAA sponsored. Like,
do you think that they would pick Texas Tech if the Big 12 said no, they can't represent us?
Right.
I can't believe they would still pick Texas Tech.
Let's say they go 13-0 and win the Big 12 championship, but the Big 12 says nope, you're not allowed to be our auto bid. You have to go in the at-large field. And college football playoff committee, I said it yesterday, they don't have, like, it's subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Their reasoning could be because we want to. We don't want you to play in our playoff. Therefore, you're not going to play in our playoff.
Yes,
and so I think you need the entire college football world to rally around this.
Well, I think everybody has.
And
they just need to have the stones to step up
actually
and do
do
something
it. Yeah.
about it. Yes. Come on. Everybody agrees with you. What more does it take?
Well, 4312 says, well, couldn't Texas Tech just sue the Big 12 and be right back at square one? Sure, but you need another judge to agree with you on this.
But that's also, like we talk about collectively bargained, they agreed to those rules.
That is true. That is true. They are a member school, so they agreed to those rules. I think that I still think, and I said it yesterday, I think more than likely Brendan Sorsby does not play this year. Because I just think
such a bad look.
They're either gonna get it overturned with an appeal, or there is going to be so much, hellfire raining down on Lubbock for making this decision.
It's not the same, but you guys might be a little young for this. When Ray Rice got suspended 2 games.
Yes.
Yeah, I
the
remember
video
this.
came out of him just
the elevator video.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the outcry was so great that they changed the punishment.
Yeah.
And didn't they increase to like 6 or 8 games or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. And is that enough? Look, it probably isn't going to affect the court of law, But does at some point Texas Tech go,
Fold. Right.
all right, we understand this looks really bad. we're compromising ourselves as a university completely
Yes.
to fit this guy onto the football field because he can sling it. We know what he did was really wrong, but we simply don't care because he's good.
He's going to help us win.
Yeah. By the way, he knocked up the dean's daughter. We're good with that too. Yeah, I mean, really?
Really?
No.
I was about to say. When,
I was like, man, Cory dropping some knowledge.
Yeah.
No, but I'm
I
just
didn't
saying
hear about that.
I'm just saying, like, they don't care. They don't care. Like,
He could do
you
whatever.
said, he could do whatever he wants.
But he's a good football player, so he's going to be on our team. Yep.
And look, I know one of the hidden concerns for all the other teams is, what if this is our guy?
Yeah.
What if this is our guy?
Right.
You know, what if we've got Fernando Mendoza this year, and all of a sudden it comes out the week before the season that he made a bet? Well, I'd like to still be able to have him play.
Yeah. And I guess all of these schools that are coming out against this, you've got to take a look inward too and make sure that you're not being a hypocrite with this. But
just stand for what's right and wrong.
Right.
It's not hard. It's not difficult.
And that's what I've said all week is Texas Tech had the opportunity when all of this came out to kick him off the team and say, you know what? He broke the rules. We preach to our team, all of our student athletes, 0 tolerance for gambling. That is the rule. There is 0 tolerance, and you will get suspended for betting on the Super Bowl or joining a fantasy football league. Like, he bet 9,000 times. And what kind of message is that sending to your other student athletes at Texas Tech by
Break whatever
supporting this
rules
guy?
you want.
Right. Do what
if
you
you're
want.
good, we'll welcome you
right.
back.
We'll figure it out. If you're good enough,
Exactly.
you're going to play on our team. But sorry, if you're not good enough and you made a bet on the Stanley Cup Finals, see ya.
Sorry, if you're not good enough, it doesn't matter what you do. We're just going to cut you loose.
Right.
I mean, that's it.
If let's say this was their third string wide receiver at Texas Tech, are they supporting him through this? No. But it's the quarterback that they spent millions of dollars on.
Yeah, look, no. I mean, there was a right way to handle this from the start, and it was for Texas Tech and Brendan Sorsby to say, I have a problem.
Yep.
And I need to get it. I need to get myself right as a human being. And Texas Tech to say, he is being removed from our football team. We are still going to honor his scholarship. We are still going to honor him as a student. But we support him in getting healthy, and hopefully he's back this fall as a student.
Yes.
That was the correct.
We'll figure out football later.
Yes.
He needs help right now.
Yes, but that was never the case. The case from the beginning is, can he play this fall?
Yep.
That was always the concern. There was never a concern about his well-being as a human.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's never been a concern about what's right and what's wrong. And there's never been a concern about example that it sets for the football team. There's never been a concern about what message does this send about college football. I mean, there's already a lot of questions right now about college football because of NIL, because of the transfer portal. And, and believe me, I am a huge supporter of both, but I understand both are imperfect right now. But there are a lot of people, older ones especially, who hate both because they can't stomach, these kids getting paid, because I just don't view that they're realistic in where college football is today. That's a whole other argument, but this just gives them more ammunition about how the whole thing is broken.
Yeah.
But look, Brendan Sorsby didn't break it. The athletic director and the football coach are the ones who are breaking it. The judge is allowing them to break it, but they are making the decision to put him on their football team.
Yep.
They are the two people we need to be looking at most.
Yeah, that it pissed me off.
By the way, let's add the school president in there as well. Yeah. He is also complicit.
There are decision makers who could have said, we don't stand for this at Texas Tech. He broke the most important rule in sports.
Outside of murder.
The most important rule in sports, not the most important law in the world. The most important rule in sports, which is don't bet on your own sport.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. And they could have stood up and said,
he bet on his own team.
Right. He bet on his own team. Yeah. I said it yesterday. I was like, I know the rules because, again, I'm governed by them too, right? I know the rules. You can't bet on any pro sport that has an NCAA championship. You can't bet on any college sports whatsoever. And you definitely can't bet on your own team. He broke all the rules, every single one.
A lot of times.
9,000 times.
Yes.
Like that. You're 100% right. This is on Texas Tech for not standing up and saying, Yeah, it might hurt our football team this year, but we're not going to allow this. He broke the rules that we stand for, and we have to set an example. And instead, Joey McGuire's telling reporters after the decision comes down, huge.
How about this? How about this? Student A, biology major, caught cheating on a test at Texas Tech, expelled from the school, goes to court. There's irreparable harm here. If you expel me from school, you guys got to let me back in.
I have a learning disability, which is like, that's what he's saying is like, oh, I have a gambling addiction.
I'm not smart enough.
Right.
So I had to cheat. And if you kick me out of school, it's going to irreparably harm me. I mean,
they're going to laugh at you.
Yeah, but you should laugh at this lawsuit.
Right. That's exactly. That is why this is so shocking, because we talked about it. I tried to couch it a little bit and say there's almost no chance he wins this lawsuit. And you said there's no chance. No. Zero.
I did not think a judge could be this corrupt.
Me too. I did not think that there was any chance.
I mean, I guess, I've seen enough, crime drama in my life where I shouldn't say.
Again, yeah.
But I mean, that someone would stake their reputation on this.
But yeah, as Parker said, he's retiring. It's like,
but I mean, still,
yeah.
I guess I should learn his name so I can.
Ken Curry.
Ken Curry.
Yep. There you go. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take your reaction on this on our phone and text line.
Harmed if I was not allowed to rob this bank, Ken.
Right. If I do not rob a bank in the next 24 hours, I will face irreparable harm.
Okay. Show of hands, and that does any good on radio. Show of hands. Who still thinks he plays this year? Parker's got a half hand.
I think he's playing this year. Yeah.
I don't think he is. I think
and here's why. Okay. I don't think Yormark has this. It's like what I told y'all. I don't think Yormark has the stones to say, you know what? Texas Tech's our best chance at winning a national championship. Sorsby, you're not going to play this year. I don't think he has the stones to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think he plays this year. I think there's too much.
I guess I have too much faith in
common sense.
And in the world.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I understand what you're saying, and I don't completely disagree with you. It's so insane. I have to believe it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I still think it's like a 70% chance he doesn't play.
Yeah,
but the chance he does play should be a hell of a lot lower than 30%.
The Big 12 can bring this to an end. They can't. The ADs just need to stand up together.
Right.
The commissioner still works for them.
I mean, the Big 12 ADs could just say, we will forfeit every game we play against Texas Tech.
They can go 13-0, but they're not going to play a single game.
Right. And is the college football playoff going to put a team in that's only wins were the only games they played?
We haven't seen them play.
They played Abilene Christian and Sam Houston State.
They may not play them.
Right. They may. Well, they're probably getting paid to play them.
But they still may not play them.
Yeah.
The Big 12 could take the fines from Texas Tech and pay them to buy out the contracts.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, how about that? Texas Tech just offered to pay the buyout for the Texas games, Abilene Christian and Texas State. How about Baylor says, hey, Abilene Christian, don't play Texas Tech. We'll pay you whatever they were going to pay you just so they don't get to play that game.
Boom. Well, I mean, you got 15 other teams in the conference. Everybody chips in $100,000. You're there.
Well, so I guess Abilene Christian isn't the right example because he's not allowed to play in that game. He's suspended the first two games. So Texas Tech can play their first two games.
Play Abilene Christian
against Abilene Christian.
They get through
and 2-win Oregon State.
A 2-win football team from last year. With Malik Murphy starting at quarterback, he doesn't scare anybody.
Malik Murphy still playing college football.
Who determined the 2-game suspension?
That was part of the concession that his legal team made.
Oh wow, they are so giving. I mean, they are so good. Judge, we're going to sit out those first 2 games.
We don't need to play Abilene Christian or the Mighty Beavers of Oregon State.
Yeah.
So the only game that he might be able to play in, if the Big 12 puts their foot down, would be Sam Houston State.
This is so insane. I feel like, look, there's a lot of things in this world where I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah, this is
right there with them.
I thought it was a satire account when I saw this on Monday. I didn't think it was real.
There are certain things I've been talking about the collapse of the NCAA for a decade. And so that is not surprising to me. I never, ever thought I would see this.
Yeah. If he steps foot on that field this fall, NCAA, that's the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of change in college sports, of course, and that's led to outrage on certain things here and there. Charles Bediako stepping on the court for Alabama was bad. This would be 10 times worse.
But again, it was the same similar type of scenario.
Right.
It was a biased judge who just wanted his guy on the court.
Right. And Nate Oates could have stopped it and said, no, you're not playing on our team. And he didn't.
And that's why I say, these judges open the door for it. The coaches, the ADs, the school presidents,
right?
Because it's not just Nate Oates. They are all complicit in it.
Yep.
They are all complicit in it because, we got to win games. I mean, yes, winning games is the job, but are you willing to do it at absolute all costs, no matter how embarrassingly bad, selfish, ridiculous your decision may? Have some standards in your life.
Yeah.
Lead by example for a second. Lead by example. Good God. I mean,
615-737-1025 is the phone number.
There's another cut for me.
That's
what was my other one? What was my one last week? I hate everyone.
Yeah, I hate everyone at the
one
station.
Was great.
So I got that one in.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Again, we'll take your thoughts on this. We'll continue this conversation on the other side. Today, the Nashville Sounds take on the Durham Bulls at First Horizon Park, and first pitch is at 6:35. You can catch all of the action on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks Family Leisure and Social Cantina. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Boxing fans, 102.5 The Game and Team Boxing League have your chance to win tickets to see the Nashville Smash take on the Atlanta Attack at Municipal Auditorium on Friday, June 12th. This Friday, just text the keyword FIGHT, F-I-G-H-T, to the game text line at 615.
Awesome if they all fought in the ring like at the same time.
Yeah, just put all like 10 of them.
Yes, just like 10 matches
Cage
at
match.
Once.
I think they go one at a time.
Sorry, this is an ad.
Yes, it sounds great. And if you want tickets, text the keyword FIGHT, F-I-G-H-T, to the game text line at 615-737-1025 to enter for your chance to win. We're talking about the Brendan Sorsby situation. And me and Cory agree, just because we're going to believe that what is right in the world will happen, and he should not be able to play this fall.
There is no argument to be made for him to play.
I think that there is going to be a way to stop Texas Tech from playing him that doesn't involve the NCAA.
There is.
There is, and I think it's going to happen.
There are multiple, actually.
Yeah. Whether it comes from their opponents, the Big 12, the college football playoff, like there's going to be enough pressure that I think it's going to stop. But I asked this question yesterday, and I wanted to get your thoughts. Like, what happens if he does play and he's good? Like, can you imagine
no, you expect him to be good.
But can you imagine the Heisman ceremony with Brendan Sorsby sitting there? Like, what?
Look, I'm a voter.
What would they say?
Well,
right. No one would vote for him. That's probably the biggest thing.
We won't vote for him. And here's the other thing. Let me give you another scenario that cuts him off at the knees. The College Football Playoff Committee could come out right now and saying if he plays, they will not be invited.
Yeah.
They will not be invited.
Right. No, and
then at that point, Texas Tech is like, what's the point?
Right. Like, because, I mean, again, it shows you that they're not standing for anything here. They're not trying to support the player, right? Like that's then what they're saying is like, we're supporting the player.
No, they're supporting winning.
Right. But I promise you, if the College Football Playoff came out and said, if he plays, then you're not eligible for the College Football Playoff, they'd say, see ya.
Yeah, we're gone.
Like that is why
suddenly we don't care about him.
Right. That's why the way they're talking about it is just so disingenuous. They're like,
that's the best word for the whole thing.
We're supporting this young man and we want the best for him. But guess what? If he makes you ineligible for the playoff, I bet your tune changes pretty quickly.
Yeah. Suddenly he's not getting the $3, $4, $5 million, whatever you're paying.
Right.
Yes. No, and again, all the teams could agree to just not play them. There's everybody kumbaya, join hands. We will all just forfeit.
Yeah. Can the College Football Playoff say, hey, we won't punish you for taking a forfeit against Texas Tech?
No, sure they can.
Right.
Sure they can. You know, that doesn't count as a loss on your schedule. You went 11-0 this year. Or
10-1.
You went 9-2. Yeah. You absolutely you could do that. The Big 12 has the ability to come in and cut them off at the knees.
Right.
The Texas State Legislature could come in and say, this can't happen. It's a publicly funded institution.
Yeah.
Okay. They could come in heavy-handed and say, we can't have this. And again, the Big 12, which is the one that makes the most sense, could come in because it only takes 12 of the 16 schools to come in and do it.
Yep.
And say, hey, we are going to massively punish. I mean, I saw something yesterday that there was talk about kicking them out of the league. All right.
And that shows you how upset people are about this ruling.
They should
be. And they should be. But it's like, it just shows that they are saying, if you play this kid, we are going to kick you out of the Big 12. You are one of our best programs across all of athletics with all the money that they've gotten lately. But guess what? We'll kick you out of the league if you decide to go through with this.
And again, this isn't like we all hate Brendan Sorsby. No, we all hate what is being allowed to happen.
Yes, a lack of consequences.
This is not about Brendan Sorsby. This is about rogue judges, rogue athletic directors, rogue head coaches, rogue school presidents, twisting rules as hard as they possibly can and looking as ugly as they possibly can to try to make the college football playoff.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say I'm rooting against Brendan Sorsby, right? Like I'm not
rooting against the situation.
Right. I'm not saying that I want him to like have irreparable damage. Like I don't want his career ruined, but like
he want some rules.
He made the decision. He should have to live with the consequences.
He absolutely. Look, if I was his dad, I'd be like, partner, you blew it. And I still love you, but you blew it.
Yep.
And you didn't need to make bets to make money.
Right.
You made bets because I believe he's got a problem.
Yes. I mean, if you're making
Yeah.
$90,000 worth of bets over 3 years, and
Yeah.
when you know that it's against the rules.
Now look, if he's making a couple $1 million,
$90,000
in bets,
it's a drop in the bucket.
Well, it's not like what we would
right
consider.
For me, like, yeah, $90,000.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot, but
you
yeah,
know, it's like, why does Michael Jordan play for $10,000 a round or whatever?
Right.
Because playing for $20 doesn't mean anything to him.
Yeah.
So they got to have some juice in it.
Right.
And so the more money you make, the more juice you got to have. So, but again, it's the volume of betting, and it's the betting on your own team. I mean, and again, it's just basic right and wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we could explain this to a 5-year-old.
Right.
And, oh, yeah, you're right, Dad.
Yeah. You set rules.
Yeah.
You constantly break them. Like, and I keep bringing it up because I think there's just a difference of the way this was adjudicated even 4 years ago. There was a Virginia Tech linebacker who made $40 worth of bets on the NBA Finals and self-reported to the NCAA.
In Iowa.
Right. The quarterback.
Like $10 on a basketball game.
And self-reported and still got a 9-game suspension that eventually got lessened to 6. And the NCAA, no one questioned it. They said he broke the rules. Yep. He has to live with the consequences.
And we all say,
right.
Nicholas Petit Frere, fantasy football.
Right. Those are
6 games.
Those are mistakes, right? This was a constant behavior that he was doing and knew it was against the rules and kept doing it.
Yes.
And that's why everybody's so upset about this.
Yes. 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 And you again, I've brought up integrity of the sport. What is every Texas? If he plays, everybody's going to be looking at the lines, over-unders, yards, touchdowns, interceptions, every game.
Yeah.
Did he throw it? Every questionable throw that he makes or doesn't make, all of them will be subject to scrutiny.
Yeah.
And you know what? Rightfully so.
Yep.
Because that's why I've said NFL teams won't touch him.
Right.
Because of that.
Right. You just never know what his motivation is.
You're bringing that into your quarterback room.
Yeah.
And I could be dead wrong. I totally understand that. But my understanding of the NFL, I don't know. I don't know.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to chime in, our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Text or call. We will wrap up the second hour after this. We'll take your thoughts on this situation. And there was a local story yesterday that I think is really good news. We might get to that coming up next. Back into the Titans at 11. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up. 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. We are wrapping up our conversation on Brendan Sorsby, who, as of right now, is eligible to play the final 10 games and the postseason for Texas Tech. Has to be suspended for the first 2. We've gotten some good texts on this. 4312 says, I need to sue the Tennessee Lottery because they're keeping me from winning millions and causing me financial loss.
Good call.
Same argument Sorsby used.
Can we sue players who don't cover the over or under on their performance lines because they cause me irreparable harm?
Yeah, irreparable damage. 4312 also says the college football playoff should make this decision soon. The amount of goodwill from fans they would earn would be so worth it. It's the easiest slam dunk PR move in history. And I agree. Like all of these different outlets that you mentioned, whether it's the Big 12, whether it's their opponents, whether it's the Texas state legislature, the college football playoff, all have the opportunity to make it very difficult on Texas Tech to justify playing Brendan Sorsby. And no one would blame them. Like there would be zero backlash. Everyone would celebrate you.
Everyone agrees with you. The only reason, like I'm saying, teams are worried is because well, what if it's our guy?
Yeah.
But if you stand for what you're saying you stand for, this is not a difficult decision.
Yeah.
So what if it is your guy? You're not going to play him.
Yep. And
that's what you're saying.
And I know the people saying where's the outrage for the people who break the law? They should be kicked off teams too, right? Like you have standards in your program.
Well, yes.
You have to hold your players to those standards.
Yes. But again, part of what makes this even worse,
right, is the integrity of the game issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it when you question the outcome of games? And it's been the big danger since gambling, was largely legalized in our country, is having people question the outcome of games.
Yeah.
And this does not help. This does not.
And, I'm happy to agree with the people who say there's hypocrisy of, leagues getting in bed with the gambling industry.
Sure.
and networks talking about how horrible this is while having a DraftKings sportsbook ad on. Totally agree.
They're not wrong.
No, not wrong. That doesn't change the fact that everybody is right in saying that this is not good for the sport if he ends up playing football this year.
And look, I don't think there's anybody in the world who says, players should be allowed to gamble on their team. They should be allowed to place bets.
I did see a couple of people say, what's the issue? He was betting on his team to win. I'm like, it is. First off, just flat out, it's against the rules. They all agree to these rules when they decide to play college football. That's number one. Also, are there some games he is betting on Indiana and some games he's not because he has inside information? Like that's the issue here.
Yep.
Not that.
So the fact that he didn't bet on Indiana this game,
right?
What
does that mean there's an injury that's in there that no one knows about?
And
so
what's the bet his friend made on this game?
Right. So let's hope
which
that
they can monitor, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, they've got technology.
Like if Mrs. Lyman was making a lot of bets, you might be in trouble.
Right. Yeah. No, 100%. Like if there was an irregular amount of bets going.
If Mrs. Lyman bet hard on Vandy women.
Are we bringing people's moms into this?
No, this is my
his wife.
Oh.
Like,
your mom too.
No, and that's I think that's probably partially how they caught Sorsby was he was like sending money to people to make bets for him. Like that's going to get you caught eventually. Yeah. Speaking of things that everyone can agree on, I did want to bring this up quickly before we go to break. The TSSAA is instituting shot clocks on a 4-year rollout for college or for high school basketball. I mean,
thank goodness.
I understand.
Why couldn't they have done this like 7 years ago?
Well, so the issue
17.
is the financial burden, right? There are schools that it's like, well, you're making us spend money on the equipment to have a shot clock, but it had to happen. Like watching these videos, not just from Tennessee, but like everywhere of state championship games where teams just dribble in the front court and pass it back
17 to 12.
Right. And it's ridiculous. This is another common sense issue that I'm glad has finally been figured out.
I am old enough to remember North Carolina and Dean Smith going 4 corners.
Yeah.
And it was horrible.
Right.
It was horrible.
And the kids don't get better. Right?
No, because it's not about being better. It's about holding the ball with the lead.
Right. You are just leveraging the rules of the game that are stupid. I mean, it's why there's shot clocks at every other level of basketball.
It's why I quit playing high school basketball.
Yeah.
I was going into my senior year. I'd played basketball, and we had a coach come in and said, "We're not as talented as everybody else. We're going to play four corners." And I said, "Peace, I'm out."
Right.
Why am I going to practice?
We held the ball for 2 minutes at the end of the game one time.
It's horrible. Like,
that's nothing.
Just to save the lead.
That's nothing. Dean Smith could go four corners 8 minutes to go in the game. That's not an exaggeration.
I know. Ugh.
It's horrible. Like, I understand you want to win, and the kids want to win too, but
that's not the spirit of the game.
Coaches at the high school level, like, winning is not the most important thing.
Participation.
Right. It's about letting these kids play a sport and enjoy it and hopefully get better at it.
Learn life lessons, compete. That's not competing.
Right.
That's just draining the clock.
Yeah.
Look, I know, like, when my daughter has played goal for a couple of years now in soccer, and when they're up like 1-0, 2-1 in a game, and there's a ball kicked out of bounds, or whatever, I tell her, take your time.
Right.
Do not run to that ball.
Yeah.
Do not run it back out to the goal kick line. You take your time. There's a difference between that and just four corners.
Yeah.
We're not going to shoot it. We have no desire. We're just going to throw it around and around and around and around and around.
I believe I saw it's a 4-year rollout, so they're giving schools time to get this instituted. But I saw that pop up. I think it was Mike Organ who tweeted out the article of it, and I like. Again, not as somebody who is around high school sports all that often. Like, I call a little bit of high school basketball and football here and there.
You called the state championships.
I called the state championships for a couple.
Would that have helped in any of those games you did?
Actually, those ones were pretty well played.
Yeah.
Like, there were possessions that went on for longer than
but nobody was stalling out.
There was nobody who was purposefully trying to take advantage of those rules. So, no, those were good. But I just think it's something that has been needed across all of high school sports for a long time. So I was happy to see
I'd agree.
615-737-1025 is the phone number.
You have a play clock in football.
Right.
So you can have a shot. You'll be okay.
Yeah. Imagine no play clock in football.
Yeah.
Like,
they just go 7 minutes without snapping the ball.
You're up
my former head coach would love that.
You're up by 3 points heading into the fourth quarter, and the team in the lead just says,
"Well, it's first and 10."
Handshakes.
They've been sitting on the ball.
We milked that play
minutes.
clock all the way down to 10 seconds before I got the play call ever.
Take one knee to start the fourth quarter, and then run out to midfield and take a handshake to end the game.
By the way, for those of you at home who don't understand this, it benefits the less talented teams to make the games shorter.
Right.
So the good teams should really love this rule.
Yes, because you're playing straight up instead of gimmicks.
Yes. When you're outmanned, you need to try to make the game as short as possible. It's like, with the Titans throwing the ball a million times to start the last season, I'm like, what are we doing here?
Right.
You're not as good as this team. You need to make this game as short as possible.
Yep.
And that's why you see teams, when they're behind, they try to make the game as long as possible.
Right. Yeah. You're trying to get out of bounds and all that kind of stuff. So, I thought that was great news yesterday. Wanted to bring that up quickly. 615-737-1025. We'll get back into the Titans coming up in the final hour. We'll also talk some NBA Finals. Game 4 coming up tonight. And one of the cooler stories around the World Cup starting this week. We'll get into all of it. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5, the game final hour on your Wednesday morning. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly broadcasting from the Busy Bee, Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Back into the Titans here for the final hour as they were out at OTAs for the second straight day yesterday, off today. Tomorrow, we will get the final OTA before minicamp next week, and we'll hear from Robert Saleh tomorrow as well. Parker, you were out there yesterday. We talked a lot about Cam Ward and some of the hiccups that he's had through the offseason program.
There's
so
like
far.
79 other guys out there.
That's where we're going
Okay.
next. Parker, I've seen a little bit of hype around Xavier Restrepo again.
Guilty as charged.
Are we in danger?
Guilty
Are
as
we
charged.
in danger of catching this strep?
I think I mentioned this to TD yesterday, or Terry McCormick, one of the two, that this is going to happen because he had a ton of targets yesterday.
Yeah.
A ton of targets. And TD was talking to me, and his words, not mine. He said that Brian Daboll's offense is the perfect fit for a guy like Xavier
What
Restrepo.
position does he play?
Slot.
Yeah.
Same position as
Wandale. That's exactly
who
why I
is
made
he
the
most
comparison.
physically built like?
Wandale
Robinson.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly why I made the comparison, because he works so well in short space.
He's just slower.
And exactly. And Brian
he's lost
Daboll
weight.
will get that out of him. Now, that's no guarantee he'll make the 53.
But it's going to be really tough for any of those wide receivers to make the 53.
Because Bryce Oliver is able to contribute more on special teams than Restrepo.
Right. You've got 5 wide receivers. And like Jim DK obviously adds to special teams in a big way.
Gunner.
But like the 6th wide receiver spot has to be somebody who can play on special teams.
And by the way, I still think Bryce Oliver can play wide receiver.
I
do
think so
too. I've seen it.
Yes,
We've both seen it in practice.
I've seen it in preseason games. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns to beat the Saints.
One of his practices in training camp last year, he had 3 touchdowns in one day. I'm like, this dude can play.
I know.
No,
it was
he and Malik
disappointing he got
Willis
hurt.
Yes.
We're dialed in together. That's I am a huge Bryce Oliver fan.
And I think last year he would have gotten opportunities if he had stayed healthy.
Yeah.
Once Ridley got hurt,
he just got hurt.
Van Jefferson was.
I think the fact that they've hung on to him and still kind of talked him up through those injuries tells you how much they value him.
Yes.
And I do also know that Bones likes Bryce Oliver a lot. So he'll be tough. That there's no guarantees there. There's no guarantees because we have seen in the past they'll cut a guy and say, well, we'll coach somebody else to play that position.
Yeah.
The question is, it's not going to be DK. I guess it could be Iomanner. Like if Iomanner's down the line, you could say, well, we'll teach him to play special teams. But DK's already returning. Okay.
Right.
And it's not going to be Calvin Ridley.
No,
all right. It's not
at
his
age. Yeah, not going to be Tate, not going to be Robinson.
Okay.
So
if you're going to cut him for Restrepo,
right, you need.
And by the way, he's your 3rd slot now behind DK and.
Yeah,
Robinson.
DK can play outside too, though.
DK played outside a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, they all can. They all can rotate through. But I'm just saying, this is the argument that we always get into over roster assembly.
Yeah,
it's like the whole Julius Chestnut thing.
Right.
Okay. Well, he looks. When they kept him over Hassan Haskins, he just looked so good carrying the football. Who cares?
He's not going to be carrying the football.
Yes, exactly. You kept a guy because you like the way he carried the football, even though you're never going to give him the football.
He's going to get like 12 carries for the whole season.
And you cut a guy who was a core special teams player and is now a core special teams player for the LA Chargers.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you went and drafted Khalil Mullings to be the same thing.
Yep.
And then draft Nicholas Singleton this year.
Okay, Nicholas Singleton.
I think you have hope that he can carry the football.
I think there's thought that Nicholas Singleton could be a starting running back, but that was not the case with the other guys.
But still have Michael Carter as well. So they're going to have to make some decisions.
That's a loaded room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to have to make some decisions.
When you look at some of these spots, though, you just have to say, is this guy ever going to touch the football?
Right.
And, does it make more sense to have a guy who's really good on special teams? Because, when it comes to 6th wide receiver or 3rd or 4th running back, look, if you're down to that guy already, you can go find that guy in free agency.
Yeah. How many times are they going to carry 6 wide receivers on game days? Right? Maybe sometimes.
Well, I mean, if 2 of them are special teamers, because Jim DK is going to return and Oliver's is your gunner. I mean, then yeah.
Would Alec Iamaner be a healthy scratch then?
It's
I think it's
possible.
possible we see that sometimes this year that
Sure.
Iamaner is game day inactive.
It's more likely that somebody's dinged.
Right, and that's why it's great to have Iamaner in case Calvin Ridley gets hurt, which has been the case a lot, or Carnell Tate, whatever it is. But yes, I think there's that's why it's going to be tough for Restrepo or KJ Osborne to make the roster.
And KJ Osborne especially. But I look at both Ridley and Tajay Spears, and I say if somebody wants a trade for one of those guys, I think the Titans will leap at that.
Yeah, you've got players behind them that you believe in, young players.
Well, they're both on last year of their deals.
Yeah,
they're not part of this team's future. They're only here because they're under contract.
Right.
That's the only reason they're here.
I don't know if I would say Ridley. I think I'd like to see what Calvin Ridley can do this year when he's not being asked to be wide receiver one. But I understand what you're saying that if Chim Dike outplays him in camp,
he makes too much money, and I know they've readjusted his contract.
Yeah, he took a $15 million pay cut,
but he has made too much money to not be wide receiver one. Okay, so if he's wide receiver 3 or whatever, and he catches 30 balls or 40 balls, that's still not good enough. That's still not good enough.
Yeah.
All right, and he's 33 years old now.
32 or 33. Yeah, somewhere in there.
And I don't hate Rid, but he hasn't lived up to the billing.
No.
That's plainly obvious.
Yeah.
And he's at a point in his career where he's not going to get better. And so you're building a team.
Yeah.
All right. So who can get better?
Chim Dike,
Alec Iamaner, Carnell Tate. Those are the guys that need to play. And that's not a hard decision for me. I understand why he's still here. Contractually, it makes sense. And also, like I said, guys get hurt. But am I expecting a big year from Calvin Ridley? Nope.
No, I would say you'd love to get 600 or 700 yards from Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, maybe.
That would be my goal for him. But I see what you're saying. I would guess if something like that was going to happen, it would be at the trade deadline. I don't think they're going to trade him preseason, but sure, if the Titans are
why not
3-5,
you don't think a team could be in the preseason and go, well, we got crap,
maybe,
and we can get him for a 7? We'll do it.
I wouldn't do it for a 7. I think he adds more value to your team, even if it's just in the locker room of being a mentor to the younger guys than a 7th round pick is worth.
Okay,
I would for a 7. I'm not doing that for a 7.
Look, they would have cut him if it was contractually possible. Right?
They could have cut him. They basically got the cap savings that they would have gotten from cutting him and kept him on the roster.
Okay.
So
they kept him for the same amount as cutting him.
Yes.
It didn't cost them and it didn't save them anymore. So it's like a freebie.
Yes.
Okay.
I get what you're saying, but for a 7, I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
There is a maybe.
What about a pick swap? What about a 5 for a 6? Moves you up from the 6th round to the 5th round. 5th round to the 4th round.
5th round to the 4th round would be at least I would consider entertaining that. But for a 7th round pick, I'd rather have Calvin Ridley in my receiver room.
For a 7th round pick, I would rather have Malik Willis still on the roster. So,
yeah, I mean, but I guess you're right.
I guess I see him as just at this point in his career as such not a part of this team's future.
Well, and I think you're right that the hope is maybe Calvin Ridley's one of your starting outside receivers. He starts at the Z for week 1, but by week 6 or 7, you hope Chim Dike or Alec Iamaner has elevated to a point where you'd rather play the young guy. But I do think heading into the year, Calvin Ridley might be a starter for you.
I'm already at the point I'd rather see Chim Dike out there. And I could be wrong. People at home go, Cory, you're an idiot. And you know what? You're probably right. I probably am an idiot, but I'd rather see Chim Dike out there. I want to see what the kid can do.
We will see, but I mentioned this yesterday. It's nice to be able to talk about how deep the wide receiver room is I feel
like we've had this conversation before, though.
But
who did they have? They had
Tajay Sharp.
No, Taj Boyd.
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd. And then who else did they have that year?
That was Ridley's first year.
Yeah, and they had Boyd and they had one more.
Traylon Burks.
And we were like,
there was somebody else.
Yeah, they also added somebody.
They drafted Jaquan Jackson that year too, and
people were like, man, this is the deepest type. We've had this conversation before.
I think this one, at the very least, in terms of investment and what
They had Hop.
Right. They did have Hop.
They had
Yeah, we
Hop.
did have this
And we're like, man,
conversation.
look at this. And I remember there were guys in the NFL tweeting out, Titans getting serious in the wide receiver room. I'm like, bust, 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 bust.
That is true. But I do feel better about having a fourth overall pick and a guy who just had 1,000 yards last year in Wan'Dale Robinson than I do about like Tyler Boyd and Tyler Lockett, who are kind of depth additions. But I do see what you're saying, that we have had this conversation before of like, oh, look at this room. They're going to be great this year. And it doesn't always
on paper isn't always on the field.
That's true.
And, Calvin Ridley hasn't always lived up to what we expected him to be. In fact, you would pretty much the entire time he's been here.
Yeah.
He's had flashes.
He had 1,000 yards in his first year.
Come on, man. Come on.
With Mason Rudolph and Will Levis as quarterbacks?
Fine. He's a star.
No, he's not a star, but like he had games where you were like,
yes, that's what I say. He flashed. He had games.
The Lions game where he had like 100 yards in the first 12 minutes of the game,
which makes you say what?
He's inconsistent.
Why not more?
Right. No, it's true.
Why not more? The Cardinals game.
Yes. Made a couple of huge plays.
Yes.
But then the Broncos game a few weeks earlier, he was,
why not more?
Right.
And that's why I need somebody who shows up. And again, I don't ever want you guys to think, if I'm questioning someone's effort, I will tell you I'm questioning.
Yeah.
I've never questioned his effort. Calvin Ridley works extremely hard.
Yeah.
And he is extremely fast and extremely talented. But in the NFL, that's not always what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But what does come down to is production on the field. And he's had points in his career with Atlanta where he was extremely productive. And I remember reading Jacksonville, my friends down in Duval.
Yeah.
When the Titans signed him, they were basically like, yeah, we wanted him back, but congratulations, he's really inconsistent.
Yeah.
And they were right.
Yep.
They were right.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We will get to the phones coming up next. The wide receiver room, not the only one that could have some battles at the back end of the roster. We'll talk about the tight end room a little bit coming up next, too. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. We'll take your thoughts on our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Talking Titans here. And let's go to the phone lines. Our good friend Vandy Clay has called in wanting to talk Titans. Clay, thanks for calling. Good morning.
Jake, how are you? I hadn't called in a while.
I know it's been a while. Doing well.
Looking forward to some Michaela next winter.
Me too. They were back out on the court yesterday. So excited for that. Michaela, Aubrey, and a bunch of newcomers.
Now, I'm going to bust on, before I get to my pie, I want to bust on my boy Parker for a second. Did you hear about this little breakfast where he had to wear a Vandy jersey to breakfast?
Oh, wow.
With a Vanderbilt fan.
They made you wear the black and gold part.
They made me wear a hideous garment at Cracker Barrel. That's what they made me wear. So basically what happened was I lost a bet on the air. It all the way back in March when Tennessee and Vandy played baseball. I said that if Tennessee won, Tony in Nolensville was the caller. He would treat me to a Cracker Barrel breakfast. But if I lost, I had to treat him and wear a Vandy jersey and hat.
There we go.
I lost.
I love it.
So I'm not making any more on the air bets.
Anchor
That's
down,
it.
Parker.
That's it.
Anyway, I also wanted to call on a Wednesday to talk to my boy Cory too.
Yes, sir.
We need to meet sometime, Cory. Anyway, you guys were talking about Cory. You said that you expected maybe, I think you said 600 to 700 yards maybe out of Ridley.
No, Jake had said that would be great. And I'm like, I guess so.
What is, and excuse me for not remembering the number one pick, the wide receiver,
Carnell Tate
again. Yeah. So what would be, in y'all's opinion, for a team like the Titans, what would be a target point where the fans would say, okay, that's a pretty good year as far as yardage?
I think
for number one
Carnell Tate, I think he needs to have 65 catches for at least 800 yards.
I would say at least
7 or 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, probably 6-7 touchdowns in there.
I would say at least that. I look at Tet McMillan's season last year. That's the one I've held it to. He had 70 catches, 1,000 yards, and 7 touchdowns. I think that would be my aim for Carnell Tate.
The concern I've got there, Clay, is that there's going to be touches for Carnell Tate, but Wan'Dale Robinson in the Mike Daboll offense in the past has been a target monster. And so I just don't know how many targets a game are going to be there for Tate. Now, obviously, you draft him 4th overall to get a lot of targets.
Yeah.
But that's, again, we're talking about Ridley. If Ridley's going to get 600-700 yards, that's going to come from somewhere. Right. So, again, you're talking about what is successful. I need to see at least that. 65 for 800.
Yeah.
And if not, I go, that might be and again, he's got to play 17 games.
Right. There are 800 seasons that look better and 800 seasons that look worse. I need to watch him play.
That's true. Because, A.J. Brown had 1,000 as a rookie, and it was awesome.
Right.
What would be, you guys, I said this on the Big Joe and Chase show, I put the over-under at 6 wins. If the Titans win 6-7 games, I think that shows improvement. What would you guys over and under be maybe for wins?
I think that's about right.
I think
5.5, 6.
I think Vegas is 6.5. 6.5 is the over under.
Yeah.
So my feeling is this team needs to win at least 6 games.
Yeah. I think
if they don't
double your win total.
Look, you have picked in the top 5 back-to-back years. You have spent money in free agency. You have changed the coaching staff. You have what you view as an extremely qualified coaching staff in there. You've got the first pick of the draft at quarterback in year 2. You've given him a primary target at wide receiver. If you don't win at least 6 games this year, something. And also, by the way, last year you played the most difficult schedule in the league.
Yep.
And on paper, you do not have that this year. And so if you don't, something has gone wrong. And something is disappointing. It shouldn't be that difficult to win 6 games in the National Football League. I mean, winning any game is difficult. Don't get me wrong. But everybody's got players. And you saw last year with the Titans how horrible they were the first 8-9 games of the season. And then when they fired Brian Callahan and they brought in Mike McCoy, how dramatically better the team was. They still sucked, But they were
They were a competitive football team.
They were a competitive football team. And if they had started the year with Mike McCoy head coach, how many games do you think they would have won? 6 or 7?
I don't know about that. I'd say at least 4 or 5. They would have won more games for sure.
Yes, without question.
6 or 7 might be ambitious.
Okay, so I would have felt good about saying 6 the way they played the last.
I'll
7
go 5.
games.
So
That's
splitting
fine.
hairs.
But regardless, so if that's where you were with last year's team, and then you think you should be better this year,
adults in the room.
Yes, the adults in the room. Then I think Clay is right. I think so you got if it's less than 6, this is a bad year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think if you have 4 or 5 wins, that's not enough progress.
No. Look, if it's 4 or 5, there's something I'm really unhappy with.
Yeah, and I've said it before that if this team doesn't take a step forward, I think it's probably because the quarterback didn't take a step forward. Like you've surrounded him with more talent, pretty obviously. Now the offensive line is a question, but you've surrounded him with more talent. The defense, talent-wise, is better, and you have coaches who you believe in there. If it doesn't get better, it's because the quarterback didn't take a step forward.
I think that has to be the number one concern. That, and like you said, the offensive line.
Yeah.
If the offensive line is brutal. Now, we've seen teams with not good offensive lines still win games.
Right.
And really good quarterbacks, they get, look, we've seen Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes lose Super Bowls because their offensive line couldn't protect them.
Joe Burrow.
But we also see good quarterbacks who still manage to put points on the board when they're running for their lives.
Yeah. I think if you just said, Jake, Titans go 4-13, what's your reaction the next day? It's probably Cam Ward did not have a very good year.
Or he was hurt.
Or that's a good point.
Look, if Cam Ward gets hurt, then all bets are off.
Yeah.
I don't know how many games Mitch Trubisky can win. I don't know.
Yeah, probably more than why am I blanking on last year's backup quarterback?
Oh, God.
Brandon Allen?
Brandon Allen. I think Mitch Trubisky can win more games than Brandon Allen if Cam Ward got hurt.
How did Brian Callahan talk John Harbaugh into that?
Well, he's the third string quarterback now.
How did he talk him into that?
They've got famous Jameis.
He was horrible.
Yeah. No, I will say, did not watch much of the Jaguars game after Cam Ward got hurt.
You didn't miss anything.
Vandy had a game that day. But I checked the score after. I think that was the day Vandy women's basketball beat LSU, and I checked the score afterwards and saw Cam Ward got hurt on the first drive, and I said, "Well, no need to rewatch that one."
What was so amazing about that is when Cam played that first drive, they went down the field like a hot knife through butter.
Right.
And then Brandon Allen came on, and it was like somebody just slammed down the brakes and cemented him down.
No, I was watching it, and it was Jeff Simmons got the sack on third down to start the game. They punted, and Cam Ward went right down the field and scored a touchdown. And I was like, man, this would be a nice way to end the year. Actually looking like a good football team. And then, the rest of that game was not fun. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take all of your thoughts. Maybe a few more Titans thoughts. We'll talk NBA Finals and much more to wrap up the show over the final couple of segments. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up. 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly with you for a few more segments here. Chase and Big Joe are coming up at noon. Talking Titans for a couple more minutes. There are other things that I want to get to. Parker, I'm relying on your expertise once again. You were out there yesterday. Another player that I've heard some buzz about, 7th-round pick Jaren Kanak out of Oklahoma. Have you seen much from him? And what do you think that tight end room looks like heading towards training camp? Could be a little bit busy.
Yeah, he looked good. I mean, he was kind of, the same thing that we're talking about with Xavier Estrepa, really good in short space, got a lot of targets yesterday. His nickname going around, and this is not official, is the Mechanic.
Oh, I like that.
Because he's always there in a pinch.
The Mechanic.
So he'll probably, if I had to guess right now in, June 10th, he'll probably make this team more so for his contributions on special teams. But he was catching a lot of passes yesterday, but I don't know how much stock to put in this. He was going 6th in the tight end drills.
Right.
Because there were 6 tight ends yesterday.
I would look at the tight end room and say, Gunnar Helm's 1, Daniel Bellinger's 2. One of the more intriguing camp battles for a spot on the 53 could be that 3rd tight end. David Martin Robinson has been there for a while. They brought in Kylan Granson in the offseason. And then you've got Jaren Kanak, the linebacker turned tight end, who I've kind of said he's kind of prototypical special teams guy for Bones Fossil. I think that could end up being a spot that you look towards the back end of the roster for somebody who's going to make the team.
Well, he's going to have to beat out David Martin Robinson on special teams. That's the bottom line. And DMR did become a core special teams player, along with Bryce Oliver and such this last couple of years. And so, that doesn't mean he can't do it for sure. And we've seen quite a few quarterbacks turn tight end. Eli Stowers, Travis Kelce. That's just a couple.
Yeah, Kanak was a linebacker in the middle there too. Quarterback, linebacker, tight end.
Guys who've made that transition. And I think it's because they understand space.
Yeah,
but,
I agree with that.
And then he's also got a level of physicality to him as well. So it'll be interesting to see where he is at in his development, because he could easily be a practice squad guy.
Yeah.
And then work his way to the active roster. But he's one of those guys that you could see him practice or in a preseason game and go, really. But that doesn't mean he can't be good. But I think he was worth the flyer.
Yeah,
I think he's worth looking at. That's for sure. And I'm intrigued to see what he can do.
He's got preseason darling written all over him.
Yeah.
Like, that's a guy who's going to make some plays in the preseason and get everybody talking, and then probably still not make the roster, but he could.
But again, I keep getting back to this with Brian Daboll's offenses. They just haven't thrown the ball to the tight ends very much.
Yeah.
You go back to Buffalo, and Dawson Knox was a red zone target, but he didn't catch much more than 2 balls a game.
Yeah, I want to say his best year he had like 500 yards or something like that.
Maybe. And then they drafted Dalton Kincaid really high.
Yeah.
And he's had some good years, but not what you would consider breakout year. And then in New York, they drafted Theo Jackson.
Right.
And I think Kincaid went to Buffalo after Dable left.
Yes.
But so in New York, they drafted Theo Jackson from Penn State, relatively high, and he's a guy who tested off the charts, and he was barely used there.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to temper our expectations at the tight end position.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think a good year for Gunnar Helm doesn't mean he has 800 yards. Like, it's going to be 450, 500, and hopefully he's a red zone threat.
Yeah, I mean, if he has 450 yards and 6 touchdowns,
yeah,
then
it's a good year.
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm wrong a lot, but that judging by his past as a play caller,
right?
That is where one area I throw up caution.
And with Kanak and DMR, if they make the team, it's not going to be for their tight end abilities. It's going to be because they're good special teamers.
No, because I mean, Bellinger's there to block.
Right.
And Gunnar Helm is there to catch passes.
Yep. They've got their 2 for offense.
Yeah. And now look, DMR can block too.
Yeah.
So if you want to go 2 tight ends who can block,
right.
That might
goal line set, you might bring DMR out.
Yeah, that might be what you decide to do.
Let's get into the World Cup here. It starts tomorrow.
Okay.
World Cup starts tomorrow. U.S. Taking on Paraguay
on Friday.
On Friday.
Okay.
Yes, on Friday night. But I did want to bring up, Parker told me this earlier too. Have you seen the Freddie guy on Twitter? He's a German a German who's come over here to watch the World Cup, and he's following around his team.
He was probably in Chicago with me last weekend because there were all sorts of Germans there.
Well, he's
because US played Germany at Soldier Field while I was there.
Yeah, I believe it.
I don't know if he was there. I haven't scrolled through his entire Twitter account, but last night he was in Auburn at the friendly at the Messi game, and just the tweets coming out of it is like, we cannot believe this is real. Like taking a picture of the size of Jordan-Hare Stadium. Yeah. And then they took a picture as the Eagles flying through. He's like, why is there an eagle flying through the stadium right now?
War Eagle.
But the best part was at 1 a.m., he tweeted a picture of a Buc-ee's and he goes, "This is a gas station?" with like 3 question marks. I was like, the European mind can comprehend, it seems.
Well, this is America. Everything
bigger is better.
Oversized. Everything's oversized, including us.
I thought that was hilarious. So I'm excited for the World Cup. Having it on North American soil will be cool.
Those teams and players and referees that will allow in the country. Yeah.
Spain is in Chattanooga right now.
Yeah. You think they got on the Chattanooga choo-choo?
I hope so. Apparently they're staying at the Embassy Suites. I heard that on Robbie and Rex Road this morning.
Apparently it's a brand new one.
There you go. And newly renovated.
And it's right next to Baylor School.
Okay.
Which is where they're working out.
Love it. Okay. Japan is here. Nick Frazier got to see them the other day.
Where are they staying?
I don't know. Probably downtown, I would guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe like a Radisson in Wedgwood, Houston or something like that.
I love the Radisson.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Excited for the World Cup. U.S. playing on the next 3 Fridays in their group.
Paraguay in the opener?
Yeah, Paraguay, then Australia, and then Turkey. Not Turkey anymore.
Isn't Paraguay the lowest ranked team in our pool?
They're the worst team. So that one feels like it has to be a win.
We got to get a W.
But so because and I heard Paul say this, they've watered it down. So the top 2 teams in each pool get through, but that's only 24 teams or 26 teams, something like that. And 6 of the 8 third place teams get through too. So it would be very difficult for the U.S. not to make it into the round.
It would be a total humiliation for us not to move.
Yes, to not make it out of the group would be bad, because instead it used to be the first knockout round was the round of 16. Now it's the round of 32. So getting out of the group not getting out of the group would be a big disappointment.
Well, we played the Germans to 2-1.
Yeah.
Saturday at Soldier Field.
Beat Senegal.
Beat Senegal
3-2
in a high scoring game.
Yep.
In a high scoring game.
So we'll see.
We had some bad goaltending.
Yes.
Or goalkeeping.
Goalkeeping. We're in Stanley Cup final mode.
Yeah. I've been disappointed so many times by the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah.
It just terrifies me. And you know, my favorite player on the U.S. men's national team is Chris Richards, and we don't even know if he's going to play.
Yeah.
And I think he makes a big difference if he does, because he's arguably our best defender.
Yep.
And so they need him out there. Maybe not against Paraguay, but against everybody else.
Yeah, Australia and Turkey are both going to be more formidable opponents in games 2 and 3 in the group. And
look,
so
we aren't good enough to
look over anybody.
No.
Yeah.
No, we are not.
No. The U.S. has to go out there and play like you're playing France and Brazil every game.
We need Pulisic to be the guy that we've seen in these friendlies leading up to it. I mean, we haven't always seen that on the international stage, but we've seen it leading up to this year's Cup.
Yep.
If he can be that guy, Frazier knows way more about soccer than I do, but if he can be that guy for us, we can be in some games.
Yep.
We can be in some games because you got to score goals at some point.
Right.
But like Paul said, our defense is just not great. And against the caliber of some of these players, that's not great.
Especially once you get into knockout stages. Like last time out 4 years ago, the U.S. got out of the group and barely, and then the Netherlands, it was just not even competitive.
And we don't have Tim Howard in goal anymore.
Right.
I mean, because we all remember the game Tim Howard played.
Yes.
He's still making saves.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take your final thoughts on our phone lines. We'll talk NBA Finals, wrap up the show coming up
on
next.
News 2.
Yes, on News 2 tonight. Knicks Spurs game 4. We'll talk about it next. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5, The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Final segment here on this Wednesday. Chase and Big Joe coming up next. We will have TD for part of the show tomorrow, as the Titans do have OTAs, but he'll be with us early on in the show. We'll get his thoughts on what he's seen out at practice earlier this week. And again, he will join us for the first hour of the show tomorrow. Before we wrap up, Corey, game 4, Spurs and Knicks tonight. The Spurs got the all-important win back on Monday night. Yes, they did. If it was 3-0, it's basically over. They made it 2-1. But going back into the Garden, have to get another win, I think, to keep they could come back from 3-1, but we've only seen it one time.
Yeah, look, the only question I've got, and I asked you this earlier off the air, is if the Spurs win, are they now the favorites to win the series?
I think it's a pick 'em at that point.
Okay. Because it's interesting that the home team would be 0-4.
Yes.
At that point.
I think I saw on it was Get Up or McAfee or something. Yeah. They said that the road team has never won the first 4 games of an NBA Finals.
Because it's kind of like with the NHL Finals, where like the Knights have dropped a couple games now.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they lost their mojo a little bit, because you get in that role where you're just like,
right,
we can't lose. And the Knicks won 13 in a row.
Yep.
And now they lost 1. And that's why I'm like, if they drop another one, then maybe the mojo's going away a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to sit here and say the winner of game 4 wins the series, but if the Spurs win this one, I will probably lean San Antonio in the best of 3 the rest of the way, just because I feel like they figured some stuff out with New York, where New York's just been rolling.
Well, I think they came in with better energy, better focus in game 3. Like, I think you saw the toll that Western Conference Finals took on them in the first couple games, not physically as much.
Well, they're the younger team. I didn't expect them to get past OKC because I thought they were a year away.
Yes. And I think you saw the emotions from Victor Wembanyama after they beat the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah. I think you saw the letdown from that of
that's possible.
They beat the boogeyman in the Thunder. And
there was the thought that was the finals.
Yes. Yeah. And the Knicks punched him in the mouth.
Yep.
I like the response we saw on Monday night. I think Victor Wembanyama looked better, played with better energy, but it's a long series. He's going to have to do it again in another really tough environment, maybe a tougher environment coming up tonight.
Yeah. And also, did the Knicks lose because of the whole circus of game 3?
That's what I was saying. It's
there's a lot happening.
It could have been watered down a little bit with everything that happened. Will tonight be a little bit of a rowdier crowd inside Madison Square Garden?
Well, you'll be able to have the party outside,
right?
It'll be back to what the Knicks games have been.
Yes,
and that should benefit New York when you don't have a distraction in the building. And again, that's not me making a political statement.
No,
it was a distraction. Right. It was all the talk going into the game. Not could the Knicks go up 3-0, and so I think it's kind of back to basketball. And so I just, I hate to say the winner of this one wins the series, but that's kind of the way I'm leaning.
Yeah, I don't think it's a must win for the Knicks, but if they win it, I think it puts a stranglehold on this series.
Yeah,
but I do think game 5 is always so important if you go into it 2-2, like Golden Knights and Hurricanes. Game 5 usually decides the series. Not always, but it usually does. The Spurs need to force that get back home. And I know that home court advantage hasn't mattered so far in this series, but I would rather play 2 out of 3 at home if I'm the Spurs rather than be on the road if I'm the Knicks.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the NHL Finals at 2-2, also on News 2.
Yep.
Do you like – which team do you like there?
I like the Canes. I think, like you said, the Golden Knights were in a rhythm. And I think the Hurricanes finally got a little bit of their swagger back last night with the win on the road.
The Knights are just giving up a lot of goals.
Yeah, Carter Hart, I saw it, first goalie in NHL history to give up 4+ goals in the first 4 games of a Stanley Cup final. So I like Carolina, especially playing game 5 back in Raleigh, but we will see. I'm excited that we've gotten such a good series so far, and I'm just hoping it goes 7 for both these series.
I think ABC does too.
I would agree with that. I would love to see both these series go 7. It's the best two words in sports. Cory, always great having you in. We will do it again next week.
Hopefully we have an entirely different Brendan Sorsby conversation next week.
Yeah, God, it would be nice if this was sorted out by then. I doubt it, but it's possible.
Okay.
TD will be on with us tomorrow for the first hour. We'll talk Titans with him. We'll talk some Preds and much more on the show tomorrow at 9 a.m. But keep it right here. Chase and Big Joe are coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.